Chapter 1905. You want to give up on the tears of the vast sea and escape? Yang Hongwu laughed. Impossible. I've already sealed the surroundings. The moment Yang Hongwu grabbed the tears of the vast sea, Yang Hongwu threw it into the devouring furnace and laughed as he watched Tai Songhai escape. At this moment, Tai Songhai came to his senses and realized that he couldn't leave this place. As for sending messages, he had already tried, but it was useless. Damn it, I'm going to die together with you. Tai Songhai roared. His life treasure was taken away, so he naturally suffered a great backlash. At this moment, he was already an arrow at the end of its flight. Knowing that he had no chance of survival, he rushed towards Tai Songhai. He wanted to self-destruct, so he rushed over with Yang Hongwu and Tai Xiaoyao. Be careful, young master. He's going to self-destruct. Tai Xiaoyao's expression changed greatly. Self-destruction wasn't a good thing. Although he was strong, if Tai Songhai self-destructed, he would be seriously injured even if he survived. However, the space here was extremely narrow. Moreover, his path had already been blocked. He had no way of dodging. As for breaking through the walls and leaving this place, he could forget about it. This was the cultivation tower. It was built with special materials. There were extremely powerful restrictions. These restrictions couldn't be broken even by peak sovereigns. Therefore, it was impossible to break the wall. Therefore, at this moment, he could only place his hopes on his master, Yang Hongwu. If Yang Hongwu couldn't do anything, he would be seriously injured at the very least. It might even be life-threatening. The self-destruction of a half-step sovereign expert was extremely terrifying. If you want to self-destruct, you'll have to see if I agree to it. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly. He instantly appeared in front of Tai Songhai and punched out. The speed was so fast that Tai Songhai didn't even have time to react. The punch landed on his body and directly exploded. His body turned into nothingness and disappeared between heaven and earth. It was impossible for him to self-destruct. So domineering. What terrifying strength. Tai Xiaoyao was shocked once again. One must know that Tai Songhai had already burned his life force. His strength was already equivalent to the sovereign realm. Moreover, when he self-destructed, there was a terrifying pressure. Tai Songhai couldn't get close to him at all, but Yang Hongwu appeared in front of him in an instant and blew him up with a single punch. It could be seen how ferocious his strength was. Although he looked like a deity emperor, he was actually more terrifying than a sovereign. How could someone who had the confidence to take on Tai Tulong be weak? He clearly knew that the other party's strength was at the late stage of the sovereign realm. If he didn't have enough strength and confidence, wouldn't he be an idiot? All right, it's fine now. Yang Hongwu waved his hand and said, Thank you, young master. Tai Xiaoyao said, If young master didn't kill that old bastard in time, I would have probably died a graveless death. This gratitude came from the bottom of his heart. If Yang Hongwu hadn't killed Tai Songhai before he self-destructed, Tai Xiaoyao definitely wouldn't have been able to withstand it. He would have died or been crippled. There's no need for that. Our greatest enemy is here. Yang Hongwu said, Get ready. We're going to the city walls. That old bastard Tai Tulong is already here. Tai Xiaoyao took a deep breath and suppressed the uneasiness in his heart. Tai Tulong was too strong. He was far from being comparable to the three brothers. If Yang Hongwu lost this battle, he would probably die. He would also die miserably. Outside Iron Mountain City, Tai Tulong was furious. He could sense that the souls of the three brothers had been extinguished. This meant that they were completely dead. What did this mean? It meant that Iron Mountain City was under their control. Moreover, his spiritual imprint in the City Lord's seal had been obliterated. This was the greatest humiliation he had ever suffered. Who was this person? Where did he come from? How could he be so bold and terrifying? No one from the nearby cities would dare to scheme against him like this. Even his sworn enemy, Shan Haiguan Yue, didn't have the strength to do so. Could the other party be an expert from the Central Continent? However, if the other party was an expert from the Central Continent, why would they be interested in this barren land at the border? Or could it be that the other party knew about the existence of that treasure? Iron Mountain City's Iron Star ore was very rare and valuable. but it definitely wouldn't attract the attention of the experts from the big cities of the central continent. In the central continent, which first-class city didn't have countless resources, any big city would probably have several large or veins under their control. A small iron star or vein like Iron Mountain City was nothing in their eyes. However, it didn't matter if the other party was an expert from a big city or not. He couldn't let the other party go. So what if they were from a big city? Their strength may not be stronger than him, but they have more experts. However, once he is forced into a dead end, then he will fight with them. At that time, he will have nothing. Is he going to be barefooted? Would he be afraid of wearing shoes? Thinking of this, Tai Tulong's eyes flashed with killing intent. At this time, Yang Hongwu and Tai Xiaoyao were already standing on the city wall. Anya Shenf also came out. Why are you here? Weren't you helping the Lord of Heaven? He looked at Anya Shenf. He has already successfully refined the city lord's seal and is consolidating his cultivation base now. The Dark Knight Goddess looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "Don't worry, he's your son. Like father, like son. As long as he has enough time, he'll be able to grow up. If he has enough time, he will definitely become an unparalleled expert in this world." Anya Shenv was actually very envious. Pan and I was Yang Hongwu's woman and had given birth to an outstanding son for him. She wasn't Yang Hongwu's woman yet, so she didn't know that Yang Hongwu was such a blockhead. However, how could he not know what she was thinking? Did he want her to take the initiative? She was so stupid. Of course, my son can't be worse than me. Yang Hongwu laughed and was very proud of it. However, Yang Hongwu was also a little worried. If Bai Ran and the others knew that Pan and I had given birth to a son for him, he didn't know what they would think. Especially Yuji, that great demon, had wanted to give birth to a son for him for a long time. Chapter 1906. At this moment, Yang Hongwu caught sight of Tai Tulong's figure from afar. Tai Tulong's speed was really fast. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Chang Quan. When he tried to enter Iron Mountain City, he was blocked by an invisible barrier. This was the formation of Iron Mountain City, the City Protection Formation. If it was before, Tai Tulong could easily enter the formation. But now, he couldn't because the formation had been changed by him. Come, damn bastard. How dare he change the formation? At this moment, Tai Tulong was infuriated beyond words. This was his city, and yet he couldn't enter. How sullen was this? Tai Xiaoyao. He raised his head and saw Tai Xiaoyao's figure. This bastard. The incident in Iron Mountain City must have something to do with him. If he had known, he wouldn't have made him the city lord. Moreover, if he had killed him, this wouldn't have happened. So many things had happened. However, it was too late for regrets now. Open the city gates and let me in. Tai Xiaoyao was overjoyed when he saw that Tai Tulong was unable to enter the city despite his loud shouts. Who are you? How dare you speak to the city lord in this manner? The guard at the city gates had an ugly expression when he heard Tai Tulong's words. He said coldly, "The city lord has said that there has been a murder in our Iron Mountain City these few days. Therefore, the entire city is sealed. Shut up, and no one is allowed to enter. Be ****. I'm the old ancestor of Iron Mountain City. Open the city gates and release the formation." Tai Tulong was even more furious when he heard this. These damn guards, how dare they speak to him in this manner? They must be tired of living. How dare you impersonate the old ancestor of our Iron Mountain City? What AB****. The guard was infuriated. An old man had appeared out of nowhere and claimed to be their old ancestor. This was unforgivable and unforgivable. How could the city lord ignore the words of the old ancestor of Iron Mountain City and not release the formation to let him in? City lord, let me go out and kill that old man. This man dares to impersonate the old ancestor. If we don't kill him, we won't be able to appease everyone's anger. The guard cupped his hands and said to Tai Xiaoyao, "Ignore him," Tai Xiaoyao said. Others might not know, but he didn't know that this person wasn't a swindler. He was the old ancestor of Iron Mountain City. However, this old bastard rarely appeared in public, so not many people knew about him. Now, only his own people knew about him. As for the others, they were all dead. In the entire Iron Mountain City, everyone was on his side. Wah wah wah. Tai Tulong was so angry that he was trembling all over. He glared at Tai Xiaoyao and the guard from before. You're betraying your ancestors. Damn you. When I come in, I will let you know the consequences of betraying me. At this moment, Tai Tulong's hair was standing on end. His clothes fluttered even though there was no wind. You still want to come in? Are you dreaming? Tai Xiaoyao said. Young master, how should we deal with this fellow? If we let him enter the city, I'm afraid there will be a lot of trouble. Tai Xiaoyao was actually very worried. If he let Tai Tulong in, who knew how many traps the old bastard had set up in Iron Mountain City? The consequences would be unimaginable if he were break in. No matter what, Tai Xiaoyao didn't want to let Tai Tulong in. Yao didn't want Tai Tulong to enter the city. However, this wasn't up to him. Yang Hongwu was the one who could make the decision. After all, no one else could deal with Tai Tulong. Only Yang Hongwu could do it. I'll go out, Yang Hongwu said. No, it's too dangerous. As soon as Yang Hongwu said that, Anya Shen objected. He's too strong. You didn't set up a formation outside. How can you be his match? Yang Hongwu smiled faintly and said confidently, it's fine. How do you know I didn't set up a formation? If I wasn't confident, I wouldn't go out. So, you don't have to worry at all. Don't worry, I will return safely. That old bastard is definitely going to die. Even though Yang Hongwu said that, Anya Shen was still worried. She didn't want anything to happen to Yang Hongwu, even if he was injured. I'll go with you. At least I can help you. Anya Shen said, if we're not his match, I'll stop him, and you can leave safely. Yang Hongwu was very happy to hear the goddess of the Dark Knight's words. He was touched. The goddess of the Dark Knight's strength was indeed not bad. However, compared to a sovereign expert like Tai Tulong, she was still far from being inferior. If Anya Shen fought Tai Tulong, even if she used all her trump cards, she wouldn't be much of a threat to Tai Tulong. Therefore, Yang Hongwu wouldn't let Anya Shen go with him. Listen to me. I said I'm confident. Don't you believe me? When have I, Yang Hongwu, ever been defeated? When have I ever fought a battle I wasn't confident in? Yang Hongwu said confidently to Anya Shen. Let's take a step back. Even if I'm an enemy, can I run? You know how good I am at running away. After hearing Yang Hongwu's promise, Anya Shen nodded and quieted down. Then you must be careful. Yang Hongwu nodded and leaped off the wall, landing several zhang away from Tai Tulong. Old man, you're not dead yet? Despicable little bastard. Who are you exactly? Where did you come from? Tai Tulong glared at Yang Hongwu. Even if this little bastard wasn't the main culprit, he still had something to do with it. It was very likely that this kid was the younger brother of the mastermind. Son, I am who I am. As for where I come from, actually, I'm not far from Iron Mountain City. I'm from Dark Knight City. Yang Hongwu said, Tai Tulong, why don't we make a deal? I heard you know about the planar boat. Dark Knight City? Impossible. You dare lie to me, little bastard? I know how strong Dark Knight City is. If I had the time, I would have destroyed it long ago. Tai Tulong said coldly. You want to lie to me? Impossible. Chapter 1907. You want to kill me? Yang Hongwu laughed. You didn't manage to do it in Myriad Dragon Mountain. You won't be able to do it now. You ran away the last time. I won't give you the chance to escape this time. Little bastard, go to hell. Tai Tulong roared and brought out the dragon, slaying axe in his hand. He swung the axe at Yang Hongwu. The power of the axe was immense. The axe was so huge that it could split heaven and earth. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly. He had to admit that the dragon-slaying axe was a great deterrent to him. Moreover, Tai Tulong was very strong. Yang Hongwu didn't dare to face him head-on. Yang Hongwu wasn't stupid enough to do that. He would do it. Therefore, Yang Hongwu kept retreating and dodging Tai Tulong's crazy attacks. Little bastard, you're really fast. I don't believe that you can keep dodging. Tai Tulong snorted coldly. He was getting faster and faster, and his attacks were getting more and more terrifying. His powerful mental strength covered a radius of 100 zhang. Aha! Old bastard, you think too highly of yourself. Although you're a late sovereign, your true fighting strength is far from that. I'm only a divine emperor now, but I can still kill you. What happened just now was just a warm-up. The real battle is coming. Yang Hongwu shouted. In fact, Yang Hongwu had to admit that this old bastard was very strong. He was worthy of being a late sovereign expert. He didn't have to worry about early sovereigns. He could easily kill them. However, it was different for late sovereigns. Even though he had activated the formation, he didn't have 100% confidence that he could kill them. I hope your strength is as good as your mouth. Tai Tulong swung the dragon, slaying axe at Yang Hongwu again. This time, the axe tore through space. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of Yang Hongwu. The axe was about to hit Yang Hongwu. However, this time, Yang Hongwu didn't move. Yang Hongwu's body was split into two. How was this possible? Young Master, Tai Xiaoyao and Anya Shenv, who were on the city wall, were stunned. They could not believe what they were seeing. Yang Hongwu was killed just like that? No, that's impossible. I don't believe it. Anya Shenv yelled. Tai Tulong burst into laughter. Little beast, you want to go against me? You're courting death. Why don't you take a look at your own cultivation? How dare you provoke me with your divine emperor realm cultivation? You overestimate yourself. Tai Xiaoyao, quickly open the city gates and I can spare your life. Otherwise, when I break the formation, you'll be dead. After killing Yang Hongwu, Tai Tulong did not see the person behind Yang Hongwu, which made him a little worried. However, it did not matter. If the person did not come out, it meant that the person was afraid of him. One should know that Yang Hongwu's talent was too strong and outstanding. If there was someone behind him, it would be impossible for the person to let him kill Yang Hongwu. Even Tai Tulong wanted to accept such a genius as his disciple and inherit his legacy. Unfortunately, Yang Hongwu was unwilling to become his disciple. Tai Tulong was very depressed. It was worth it to pay a high price for such a genius. It's too early for you to be happy. At this moment, Yang Hongwu appeared behind Tai Tulong in an instant and slammed his palm on his back. Tai Tulong's reaction was also very fast. He reacted in an instant and his body moved slightly. He shifted his body and threw out a backhand punch. However, he had underestimated Yang Hongwu. This palm was not as simple as it seemed. A ball of flame burst out from his palm. This was the legendary karmic fire of the Red Lotus. The overbearing karmic fire and the power of creation combined. Although Tai Tulong managed to block it, the karmic fire and the power of creation contained in Yang Hongwu's attack entered his body through his fist. Damn it! What kind of flame is this? Tai Tulong's expression changed. He found that this special force was wreaking havoc in his body. He couldn't stop it with his magical power. Soon, he discovered that this force was the legendary karmic fire and the power of creation. The hellfire was easy to explain. It was just the hellfire of the Red Lotus. If one was lucky enough, one could obtain the hellfire of the Red Lotus. Although it was very rare, someone had obtained it before. In the sky-reaching continent, there was a hellfire ancestor. There was a karmic fire ancestor in the sky realm who had obtained the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Although karmic fire was overbearing, it had to be strong enough. If the opponent wasn't strong enough and the grade of the karmic fire wasn't high enough, it wouldn't pose a fatal threat to a sovereign. However, he wasn't worried about the karmic fire. He could wear it down bit by bit. What shocked him the most was the power of creation. The power of creation was one of the strongest origin forces in the world. The power of creation was even stronger than the primal chaos. If one could become a Tao Lord by comprehending the Tao of creation, it was so difficult to become a Tao Lord because one needed the power of creation to comprehend the Tao of creation. However, how could the power of creation be so easy to comprehend? The power of creation was too mysterious. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to receive it. How could one obtain the power of creation? If one hadn't even come into contact with the power of creation, how difficult would it be to comprehend the power of creation? Because of this, the number of cultivators who could break through the shackles of the sovereign realm and become a Tao Lord was too few. It was because of that strand of power of creation that Tai Tulong was so shocked and worried. On the surface, this kid's cultivation was only at the divine emperor realm. However, he had comprehended a strand of the power of creation. Such a person was terrifying. Could he be the reincarnation of a Tao Lord? At the thought of this, Tai Xiaoyao's eyes were filled with joy. If the other party was the reincarnation of a Tao Lord, then if he killed him and seized his fortune, he might be able to break through the bottleneck of the ruler realm and become a Tao Lord. Hope. Those who could comprehend the power of creation were at least half-step Tao Lords. Yang Hongwu was only at the divine emperor realm. Even if he was a little stronger, he would only be at the level of an emperor. However, he had a strand of the power of creation. This meant that this kid was definitely not a Tao Lord. The only possibility was that he was the reincarnation of a Tao Lord, or he had obtained the inheritance of a Tao Lord. No matter what, Tai Xiaoyao had to obtain this opportunity. When Yang Hongwu appeared, Tai Xiaoyao and Anya Shen were overjoyed to see him. Anya Shen, in particular, was so happy that tears fell from his eyes. Chapter 1908. Although the wisp of karmic fire of the Red Lotus and the power of creation were domineering, they couldn't cause any fatal damage to Tai Tulong. He was too strong. Although Yang Hongwu's palm strike had caused him some trouble, it wasn't a big deal. Before long, Tai Tulong had used his powerful cultivation to forcefully extinguish the wisp of karmic fire of the Red Lotus. However, he didn't extinguish the wisp of power of creation. Instead, he planned to use it to comprehend the karmic fire. Comprehend the power of fortune. Kid, what else do you have? Hurry up and use it. Let me see what other trump cards you have. If that's all you've got, you can go and die. Tai Tulong looked at Yang Hongwu and sneered. Of course, you can choose to reveal your name behind you. I'm looking forward to exchanging blows with the expert behind you. Yang Hongwu smiled faintly and said, Old man, you've only cultivated for a longer time. What's there to be proud of? If I'm your age and still in the sovereign realm, I would have killed myself a long time ago. What sharp tongue? Tai Tulong snorted coldly. He had to admit that this little bastard's cultivation realm wasn't high, but his tongue was very sharp. Old man, take this. Yang Hongwu snorted, and his body seemed to turn into nothingness. His speed was so fast that it left people speechless. This time, Yang Hongwu activated the power of the formation. This formation was extremely powerful and connected to the entire Iron Mountain City. Yang Hongwu had used the spirit vein in Iron Mountain City to set up this formation. Of course, the Great Seal of Life and the Fortune of Fortune. The scroll once again acted as the core of the formation. Thus, a large seal spun in Yang Hongwu's hand. This seal was naturally the Great Seal of Life. As soon as the Great Seal of Life appeared, a terrifying aura erupted. Tai Tulong's expression changed slightly when he saw the seal slowly rising from Yang Hongwu's palm to the top of his head. He could tell that this seal was definitely not simple. It contained a vast amount of power. If this power were to be completely unleashed, even with his late-stage sovereign cultivation, he might not be able to withstand it. From this, one could tell that this was the Great Life Seal. How powerful and terrifying was the Great Seal of Life. What a great treasure. The greedy look in Tai Tulong's eyes never left the moment the Life Seal appeared. The Great Seal of Life was too attractive to him. Little bastard, you've stolen my mortal altar. This Great Seal of Life seems to be related to it. If you give me the mortal altar and the Great Seal of Life, I'll forgive you for what you've done. Tai's Great Seal of Life. He said casually. He had to admit that this Great Seal of Life was too tempting to him. Although the Great Seal of Life wasn't truly complete, and there were still fragments that he didn't know where they were, this Great Seal of Life was extremely powerful. The inner world of the Great Seal of Life, the Great Seal of Life, was already Yang Hongwu's inner world. It was growing stronger and stronger. Although it wasn't as strong as the Divine Domain or the Tongtian continent, it was still growing. In addition, Yang Hongwu had already placed the Divine Tree of Fortune and the Ancient Longevity Tree into the Great Seal of Life. The Great Seal of Life could be said to be growing at a rapid pace. Moreover, after Yang Hongwu placed the Mortal Altar and the Fire Attribute World Seed inside, the Great Seal of Life had grown even faster. Yang Hongwu was the master of the Great Seal of Life. The stronger the Great Seal of Life was, the stronger his strength would be. Moreover, this had nothing to do with his cultivation realm. It was precisely because of the strength of the Great Seal of Life that Yang Hongwu was able to fight against a late sovereign realm expert like Tai Tulong at the peak of the Divine Emperor realm. Otherwise, no matter how powerful Yang Hongwu's formation was, no matter how powerful it wouldn't be able to defeat Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong's opponent wasn't strong enough. Old bastard, take my move, strike of life. Yang Hongwu roared. The Great Seal of Life above his head suddenly shone brightly, growing bigger and bigger as it flew towards Tai Tulong. In an instant, the Great Seal of Life had become as big as a mountain. Majestic power was continuously extracted from the Great Seal of Life. Although Yang Hongwu hadn't used his full strength in this attack, he had still used half of the Great Seal of Life's power. Dragon-slaying axe, dragon slaying the world. When Tai Tulong saw the Great Seal of Life erupting with such terrifying power, he felt the threat of death. He didn't dare to be careless. His face was very serious as he held the dragon-slaying axe with both hands and roared. He poured all his power into the dragon-slaying axe. He raised the dragon-slaying axe high up. In an instant, the axe turned into a giant axe. With an indomitable aura, it slashed towards the Great Seal of Life. The giant axe and the Great Seal of Life clashed together in an instant. In an instant, a terrifying power erupted. The moment this terrifying power exploded, a huge impact destroyed everything in the surroundings, turning it into nothingness. The ground was blasted apart. A hole of dozens of feet was created. The entire Iron Mountain city shook violently. Under the impact of this terrifying power, cracks appeared on the Great Seal of Iron Mountain City. Kacha Kacha! The Iron Mountain City's great protective array finally shattered under the impact of this terrifying power. Everyone on the city wall was horrified to the extreme. What a terrifying power! What a powerful attack! Retreat! Everyone retreat quickly! The Great Seal of Iron Mountain City has been destroyed. If we continue to stay here, we will be affected by their power. An elder shouted. Those who were weaker couldn't withstand this terrifying aura at all. One by one, they spat out blood. The person who was closest to Yang Hongwu and Tai Tulong was already dead. One could see how terrifying the battle between the two was. After hearing the elder's words, the people who were still on the city walls fled frantically. They wished that they could grow an extra pair of legs. Too strong. Tai Tulong's cultivation is terrifying. Fortunately, young master is strong. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to stop him. Tai Xiaoyao took a deep breath. Although he knew that Tai Tulong's strength was terrifying, he didn't expect it at all. He didn't expect that Tai Tulong's strength would be so terrifying. It was far beyond his expectations. Even when he was the city lord and borrowed the power of the entire Iron Mountain City, he still wasn't a match for Tai Tulong. At this moment, he was very glad. If he really went up against Tai Tulong, he would be dead for sure. Chapter 1909. Yang Tianjun, who had just made his appearance, threw out a punch that knocked Tai Tulong back. Yang Hongwu looked at Yang Tianjun, feeling both happy and reproachful. He was happy because Yang Tianjun had completely refined the seal of Iron Mountain City, and his cultivation had broken through to the first level of the sovereign realm. Yang Hongwu had not expected this at all. He thought that would be good enough if Yang Tianjun could recover his cultivation. He did not expect Yang Tianjun to break through to the first layer of the sovereign realm. However, breaking through too quickly was not a good thing. If one's foundation was not stable, it would be harmful to one's cultivation in the future. It could easily lead to inner demons. Under such circumstances, ordinary people would suppress their cultivation and not let their cultivation break through too quickly. That way, their foundation would be more stable and firm, and it would not cause any harm to their future cultivation. Father, why are you here? Yang Hongwu asked. Do you know that it's very dangerous here? You have just recovered and your cultivation has risen too quickly. If your cultivation is unstable, it won't be good for your future cultivation. Father, don't worry. I know that. Right now, Our biggest threat is Tai Tulong, isn't it? Let's practice and kill this old man first. Yang Tianjun stared at Tai Tulong and said, "That axe is very important. If I can get my hands on it, I will be able to unleash the three forms of split the heavens to the fullest." Yang Hanwu did not expect his son to be eyeing the dragon-slaying axe. It seemed that the main cultivation technique that Yang Tianjun cultivated was the Pangu clan's cultivation technique that Pan and I had given him. The Pangu clan's cultivation technique was very powerful. Yang Hongwu had to admit that. If Pangu's cultivation technique was cultivated to the fullest, its power could be imagined. Back then, Pangu's strength was not very strong, but he was able to create the Eldritch world. This showed how powerful the Pangu clan's cultivation technique was. Thinking about it this way, it was normal for him to set his eyes on the dragon-slaying axe. It was precisely because he wanted to obtain the dragon-slaying axe that he was so aggressive and directly raised his cultivation level to the sovereign realm. In addition, he had already refined the City Lord seal and could mobilize the power of the Iron Mountain City. Thus, his strength was extraordinary and could rival a mid-stage Sovereign Realm expert. Only then were they qualified to participate in this battle. If he hadn't reached the Sovereign Realm, even if he could mobilize the power of Iron Mountain City, he wouldn't have been able to participate in such a battle. After all, he was too weak. All right, if that's the case, then today we, father and son, will fight side by side. We'll kill this old thing and help you seize the dragon-slaying axe. When Yang Hongwu saw the look in Yang Tianjun's eyes, he knew that even if he didn't agree, Yang Tianjun wouldn't back down. Receiving Yang Hongwu's permission, Yang Tianjun was overjoyed. "Don't worry, father. I won't hold you back," Yang Tianjun said. "Damn it, you're the one who refined the City Lord seal of Iron Mountain City. You have the aura of the Chaos Starflower on you. You deserve to die." Tai Tulong was furious. He hadn't expected Yang Tianjun to have the Chaos Star physique. Tai Tulong had known about it back then. Tai Ming had captured Yang Tianjun and stripped him of his bloodline power, turning him into a cripple. Moreover, he didn't have the Chaos Star physique in the first place. It was obvious that he had used the Chaos Star flower to create the Chaos Star physique. Back then, the Chaos Star flower hadn't fully matured. In order to hasten the maturity of the Chaos Star flower, a huge price had to be paid. It was probably the resources of Iron Mountain City that he had accumulated over many years. This made him furious. Tai Tulong, if you hand over the dragon-slaying axe in your hand, kneel down and beg for mercy. If you acknowledge me as your master, I can spare your life. Yang Tianjun's words caused Tai Tulong to explode. A mere first-stage Sovereign Realm expert with the help of iron? Someone who had broken through to the origin of Mountain City actually dared to be so arrogant and actually wanted him to be a slave. Hateful, hateful. You're courting death. Tai Tulong's eyes flashed with a cold light. A terrifying, murderous intent burst out from his body. Then he charged towards Yang Tianjun, raising the dragon-slaying axe in his hand. A domineering aura burst out and enveloped Yang Hong, Marshall, and Yang Tianjun, but the dragon-slaying axe's target was Yang Tianjun. Yang Tianjun's words just now made him determined that he had to kill Yang Tianjun first. Although Yang Tianjun's cultivation was higher than Yang Hongwu's at the early Sovereign Realm, and he had the support of Iron Mountain City, his battle strength was weaker than Yang Hongwu's. Moreover, he had just broken through, and his cultivation base hadn't stabilized yet. Once it stabilized, he wouldn't be able to unleash his strongest battle strength without fully adapting to the Sovereign Realm. Once the battle started, there would be a huge opening. Be careful. Yang Hongwu saw that Tai Tulong's dragon-slaying axe had locked onto Yang Tianjun. Without any hesitation, he took out the life seal and attacked the dragon-slaying axe. If it was a complete life seal, it would definitely be stronger than the dragon-slaying axe. However, the life seal wasn't complete, so it was comparable to the dragon-slaying axe. Oomph. Yang Tianjun snorted and took out his weapon as well. It was also a supreme treasure, the mountain-splitting axe. However, there was still a huge gap between it and Tai Tulong's dragon-slaying axe. Split the heavens. Yang Tianjun roared, and the mountain's splitting axe in his hand slashed forward. He didn't try to dodge. He wanted to meet force with force. The split the heavens was extremely powerful, and the most important thing about it was that it was indomitable. Even if it meant death, one couldn't retreat. It was the same when Pangu split the heavens. Even if he knew that it would cause him great harm, he wouldn't retreat. Boom! With a loud bang, the two giant axes and the seal clashed. Tai Tulong had the upper hand, but Yang Hongwu wasn't weak either. He had the support of the formation and the supreme treasure, the life seal. Although the life seal wasn't as powerful as the dragon-slaying axe, it had a huge advantage. It could mobilize the power of the common people great world. The moment the three supreme treasures clashed, a terrifying shockwave erupted. The ground, which had already been destroyed by the battle between Yang Hongwu and Tai Tulong, was once again destroyed. This time, Tai Tulong was sent flying. Yang Hongwu and Yang Tianjun had the upper hand. After all, Yang Hongwu's strength was on par with Tai Tulong's. Even if he had the upper hand, it wouldn't be much weaker, not to mention Yang Tianjun's attack. Moreover, Yang Tianjun's attack wasn't weak either. Therefore, Tai Tulong was sent flying. Tai Tulong spat out a mouthful of blood and stared at Yang Hongwu. Very good, very good. You have successfully angered me. Chapter 19:10. Tai Tulong was furious. He took out a pill. He knew very well that if he continued to stall for time, it would be very disadvantageous for him. He could clearly feel the terrifying power contained in Yang Hongwu's seal. This meant that his endurance was very strong. As for Yang Tianjun, this little bastard had refined the City Lord's seal of Iron Mountain City. In that case, his endurance in battle was also very shocking. He could continuously extract the Iron Mountain City's origin energy to fight. In this way, if he couldn't cripple them in a short time, make them lose their fighting strength, or kill them, then his battle would be meaningless. It would be meaningless to exhaust them bit by bit. Because of this, Tai Tulong took out a pill. It was a Berserk Dao Source Pill. This Berserk Dao Source Pill could provide Tai Tulong with a powerful source of origin energy in a short time, increasing his fighting strength by an astonishing amount. Within a short time, his strength would rise to the peak of the sovereign realm. In that case, his battle prowess would more than double from what it was now. That old thing actually took a pill. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. This wasn't a good thing. Yang Hongwu could clearly feel that Tai Tulong's strength was increasing crazily after he took the pill. His aura became even more terrifying. Berserk. That pill was probably equivalent to the Berserk Dao Source Pill. It was similar to burning one's lifespan to increase one's cultivation base, allowing his strength to increase tremendously in a short time. Tai Tulong wanted to kill the father and son before the effects of the pill wore off and end this battle. However, this was impossible. Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a smile. Tai Tulong's strength had increased significantly after taking the pill, but there was no need for him to fight him head-on. All he needed to do was to avoid him and use battle avoidance tactics. Once the effects of the pill wore off, there would definitely be some side effects. At that time, it would be much easier to deal with him. If it was an ordinary person, the possibility of avoiding a battle in front of such an expert was too low. After all, the difference in cultivation base was obvious. Father, you must be careful. That old man's strength is terrifying. It will be very difficult for us to kill him now. Yang Tianjun said, It's good that you know. Therefore, it's not suitable for us to fight him head-on. We just need to avoid the battle. Yang Hongwu smiled faintly. He's courting death. If he doesn't take the pill, he can still resist. But if he takes the pill, once the effects wear off, he'll definitely die. He won't even have a chance to escape. Tai Tulong was well aware of this. Tai Tulong knew this very well. Once the effects of the pill wore off, he would be in big trouble. However, he was confident that he could kill at least one of them before the effects of the pill wore off. That way, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Moreover, his current strength was equivalent to the peak of the sovereign realm. He had a huge advantage in killing Yang Tianjun and Yang Hongwu, who were both at the early stage of the sovereign realm. However, he didn't know that Yang Hongwu wouldn't fight him head-on at this moment. He could use the void traversing secret technique to teleport. He could even use the formation to trap Tai Tulong. But he's too strong. It won't be easy for us to avoid the battle. Yang Tianjun frowned. You don't have to worry about that. When Yang Hongwu saw Tai Tulong charging over with the dragon-slaying axe, his lips curled into a smile. Tai Tulong, you want to kill us? That's impossible. With that, he grabbed Tianjun Yang's hand and disappeared from where he stood. Damn it. Little bastard, come out if you have the guts. Don't hide. Tai Tulong's charged attack missed. This made him feel very aggrieved. He never thought that his attack would miss. Yang Hongwu was actually able to dissipate it in an instant. Had his comprehension of the Tao of space already reached such a level? If that was the case, he was in big trouble. If he didn't come out to fight, wouldn't he be dead once the effects of the pill wore off? Did he have to retreat now? Tai Tulong realized that he was in trouble. However, he didn't give up yet. At this moment, Yang Hongwu pulled his son, Yang Tianjun, to a distance of 300 meters away from Tai Tulong. He looked at Tai Tulong and smirked. Old man, you're still too weak. Is that so? He mocked Tai Tulong. Even if you ate the pill, you can't do anything to us. Tai Tulong was enraged. He raised the dragon-slaying axe in his hand again. This time, he poured all his power into it. He didn't think that Yang Hongwu could teleport without limit. There had to be a limit. Therefore, this time he instantly locked onto Yang Hongwu. They arrived at the space where Yang Hongwu and Yang Tianjun were. The axe chopped down in an instant. His speed was extremely fast. Tai Tulong's attack surprised Yang Hongwu. This time, Tai Tulong's strength was even stronger and more terrifying. However, he didn't lock onto Yang Hongwu or Yang Tianjun. Instead, he locked onto both of them, in that small space. Naive, Yang Hongwu chuckled. With a wave of his hand, a ray of light appeared in front of them. It was a formation. This was the power of formation. A boundary appeared in front of Tai Tulong in an instant, blocking his path. This boundary separated Yang Tianjun and Yang Tianjun from Tai Tulong. Formation. Damn formation. Tai Tulong roared furiously and swung his dragon-slaying axe downwards. With a cracking sound, the axe shattered the boundary. In that instant, Yang Hongwu and Yang Tianjun disappeared again. When Tai Tulong's axe came down, it didn't threaten Yang Hongwu and Yang Tianjun at all. This time, the attack was in vain. His axe had shattered the space around him, but he had lost track of Yang Hongwu and Yang Tianjun. This attack had consumed a lot of his energy, and it had also made him even more furious. Little bastard, come out if you have the guts. Don't hide. Tai Tulong was even angrier and more aggrieved that he couldn't even touch the corner of his opponent's clothes. Chapter 19:11. Although the attack didn't cause much damage to Tai Tulong, it infuriated him even more. This was a blatant provocation. However, there was nothing he could do. He couldn't even catch Yang Hongwu and Tianjun. He couldn't even touch the corner of their clothes. If it were anyone else, they would have already exploded in such a situation. They would have probably lost their rationality and launched an attack regardless of the consequences. However, Tai Tulong was Tai Tulong after all. He was a wily old fox and would not lose his mind so easily. He took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Looking at Yang Hongwu and Yang Tianjun, he knew what he wanted to do. He knew that it was impossible to kill Yang Hongwu and seize the Iron Mountain City. He couldn't even get close to Yang Hongwu and Tianjun. Therefore, there was no chance for him to kill them. If this continued, he would be at an absolute disadvantage. He wouldn't even be able to escape once the effect of the drug wore off. Since he couldn't fight, he had to leave. He didn't want to die here. He already had the intention to retreat. Old man, didn't you want to kill me? I'll wait here. Yang Hongwu sneered. If you have the guts, don't use the space mystic art to escape. Tai Tulong was so angry that he almost lost his mind. However, he had already calmed down. You mean to say that you wanted to stand still and let you hit me? Yang Hongwu said. You? Tai Tulong took a deep breath. He almost charged forward, but he held himself back. He looked at the Iron Mountain city. He knew that it failed this time. Since there was no chance, there was no point in staying any longer. Moreover, he might even endanger himself. As the saying goes, a gentleman doesn't stand under a collapsing wall. Since he knew that there was no chance of winning, he had to leave. Therefore, after a glance, Tai Tulong turned around and left. He's running away? At the sight of this, everyone was dumbfounded. They could not believe what was happening. Initially, they had been suppressing Yang Hongwu and his son. But now, Tai Tulong had actually turned around and fled madly, not daring to face them head-on. Leave. It wasn't just the people on the city wall. Even Yang Hongwu himself couldn't believe it. This guy had come in such a menacing manner and was so arrogant. Now, he actually wanted to leave halfway through the battle. This was also something that made people feel very conflicted. Father, what should we do? Should we give chase? Yang Tianjun was speechless. He wanted to obtain the dragon-slaying axe. Now that this guy didn't want to fight and directly ran away, how could he obtain the dragon-slaying axe? One had to know that the other party was a late-stage sovereign. This was because his current strength was equivalent to a peak sovereign. His strength was quite terrifying. Should he chase after him? If he couldn't win, he wouldn't chase after him, right? The other party left immediately. This guy is too cowardly. Old Ancestor? Old Ancestor is such a coward. Yang Hongwu said, however, he can't leave. He has entered my array. He's too naive to think that he can escape. Yang Hongwu smiled and looked at Tai Tulong. He didn't chase after him. He knew that if he did, he would probably fall into Tai Tulong's trap. After all, he had set up his array. There was no way Tai Tulong could escape. In fact, this was also Tai Tulong's plan. If Tai Tulong dared to chase after him, he would have the opportunity to retaliate. He might even kill Tai Tulong. However, if Tai Tulong didn't chase after him, he would leave. However, when Tai Tulong reached the edge of the array, he was blocked. An invisible barrier was blocking him. This was what made him most depressed and aggrieved. Damn it, it's another array. This time he was furious. He finally understood why Yang Hongwu and the others didn't chase after him. It was because of the array. He couldn't leave at all. No, he had to leave. Tai Tulong's eyes shot out a cold light. He raised the battle axe in his hand again. He knew the power of this array. It was impossible to break it easily. The only way was to break it with brute force. With a roar, the dragon-slaying axe slashed down. With a cracking sound, a crack was torn open in the array formation. Since the first attack couldn't completely break the array, he attacked again. Next, Tai Tulong launched another attack. The dragon-slaying axe lived up to its reputation as a supreme treasure. Its power was naturally astonishing. In addition, Tai Tulong's current strength was comparable to a peak sovereign. The second attack instantly tore apart the formation's bottleneck. Break. Father, the array has been broken. Tai Tulong is escaping. Yang Tianjun was anxious. Let's chase after him. Don't worry. If my array could be broken so easily, it would be too weak. Yang Hongwu pulled Yang Tianjun back. In fact, this was just a barrier that Yang Hongwu had opened. The real edge of the array was still there. It was more than 1 zhang wide. When Tai Tulong smashed through the barrier, he sped up and rushed out. Bam! Everyone heard a heavy thud. Tai Tulong was bounced back. He almost fainted from the impact. Rubbing his head, he finally exploded in anger. Bastard, this damned array. I don't believe it. After a roar, Tai Tulong raised the dragon-slaying axe again. This time he attacked madly. Axe after axe, he didn't stop. Looking at the furious Tai Tulong, Yang Hongwu activated the array and prepared to attack. Yang Hongwu's array was powerful and had a shocking defense. However, it couldn't stop Tai Tulong's crazy attacks. This guy was equivalent to a peak sovereign. His strength was comparable to a peak sovereign. As such, when Yang Hongwu was attacking the array formation in a frenzy, Yang Hongwu also launched an attack. Great Seal of Life, Life Strike, Yang Hongwu roared. The life seal instantly turned into a mountain and smashed towards Tai Tulong. In front of this huge seal, Tai Tulong looked so insignificant. Not to be outdone, Yang Tianjun also took out his mountain-splitting axe. Third form of Split the Heavens. The third form of Split the Heavens was more powerful than the previous two forms. It was more domineering and terrifying, as if it was going to split the heaven and earth. Boom! Two domineering attacks instantly bombarded Tai Tulong's body. Tai Tulong was so angry that he lost his mind. When he sensed danger, he turned around and saw Yang Hongwu and Yang Tianjun's attacks. He quickly took out his dragon-slaying axe to block them. However, it was too late. Moreover, he had used up too much of his energy to attack the formation. One should know that he had just attacked a few times. He had used up almost all the energy of the array. Tai Tulong's attacks were terrifying. Chapter 1912. Die! Yang Tianjun roared and brought the axe down again. Tai Tulong, who was already heavily injured, could not block it. He could only watch as the axe came down. He was filled with despair. He did not expect to die here. Wait! Yang Hongwu stopped his son, Yang Tianjun. What's wrong, father? Yang Tianjun stopped his attack. He looked at Yang Hongwu in confusion. Why did his father stop him? I have something to ask him, Yang Hongwu said. Yang Hongwu reached out and grabbed the dragon-slaying axe. With a thought, he used the power of the devouring furnace and red lotus fire to erase Tai Tulong's mark on the dragon-slaying axe. Tai Tulong's injuries worsened when his natal treasure's imprint was erased. He glared at Yang Hongwu. This guy was actually able to erase the imprint on his life treasure. It was too terrifying. He knew that not even a sovereign of the Heavenspan realm would be able to do such a thing. Perhaps not even a true Tao Lord would be able to do such a thing. But this youth was simply too powerful. Tianjun, my son, this dragon-slaying axe is for you. I've removed Tai Tulong's mark. Take it and refine it. As for Tai Tulong, I'll deal with him. Yang Hongwu tossed the dragon-slaying axe to Yang Tianjun. Thank you, father. Yang Tianjun was overjoyed. This was the dragon-slaying axe. He finally had a supreme treasure. If he could merge it with a mountain-splitting axe, it would be even better. He lifted the dragon-slaying axe and leaped into the Iron Mountain City. Tai Xiaoyao, Anya Shen, and Pan and I flew out after seeing Tai Tulong defeated. Yang Hongwu looked at Tai Tulong and said, I heard that you have information about the planar vessel. If you can tell me about the planar boat, I can let you go. You must be dreaming. Tai Tulong glared at Yang Hongwu, his eyes brimming with hatred. Kill me if you dare. I won't tell you anything about the planar boat. This brat was too naive. He had already reached this point. His cultivation was almost crippled, and even the dragon-slaying axe had been snatched away. This made him hate Yang Hongwu to the bone. So how could he be willing to tell him the information he wanted to know? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes, and his face sank. He looked at Tai Tulong and said, Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. This won't do you any good. I have 10,000 ways to deal with you. If you don't cooperate, I'll teach you a lesson. This is true fear. This is what it means to be unable to live or die. I wouldn't be Tai Tulong if I was afraid. Tai Tulong said coldly. Come, arrogant, too arrogant. At this time, Tai Xiaoyao and Anya Shem arrived. Seeing Tai Tulong's arrogance, Tai Xiaoyao said, Young master, let me deal with him. I promise to get the information you want. You beast, you betrayed Iron Mountain City and betrayed your ancestors. You'll die a horrible death. Tai Tulong looked at Tai Xiaoyao in anger and spat at him. Tai Xiaoyao was caught off guard and was hit in the face by the spit. Old thing, you're courting death. The furious Tai Xiaoyao reached out and attacked Tai Tulong. Yang Hongwu stretched out his hand to block his attack. He snorted coldly and said, Tai Xiaoyao, I still have a use for him. When I get what I want, you can do whatever you want with him, but not now. Tai Xiaoyao was shocked. Seeing Yang Hongwu's dark face, he gulped. Afraid that Yang Hongwu would be angry, he hurriedly said, Young master, spare me, spare me. All right, you can leave now. Yang Hongwu waved his hand impatiently. If you want to know about the planar boat, then kill him. Kill this traitor, this bastard, and I'll tell you. Tai Tulong pointed at Tai Xiaoyao and said, Spare me, young master, spare me. Don't listen to this old thing. Hearing Tai Tulong's words, Tai Xiaoyao was scared to death. He knew what Yang Hanwu wanted. The information about the planar boat was very important to Yang Hanwu. He was even willing to exchange the information about the divine token. This showed how important the planar boat was to Yang Hanwu. Tai Xiaoyao didn't think that his life was more important to Yang Hanwu than the disappearance of the planar boat. Sigh. So, he could only beg for mercy. Are you serious? Yang Hanwu ignored Tai Xiaoyao and looked at Tai Tulong. That's right. As long as you kill him, I'll tell you about the planar boat. Although Tai Tulong didn't know why Yang Hanwu wanted the planar boat, this was a chance for him. He knew that Yang Hanwu wouldn't let him go. But if he could use this chance to kill this traitor, he was very willing. At the very least, Tai Xiaoyao would be buried with him. Young master, you can't believe this old thing. Don't listen to his nonsense. He only wants to kill me. Young master, you can't believe him. Tai Xiaoyao was very anxious. However, I don't believe it. Moreover, Tai Xiaoyao is my servant. I naturally can't listen to a single sentence from you and kill him. That's impossible. Moreover, I've said before that if I want you to tell me what I want to know, it's as easy as lifting a finger. If you don't want to tell me, I'll have a few strange beasts serve you well. I'll put you on the martial stage in Iron Mountain City. Do you understand? Tai Tulong's eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. There was actually such a vicious person who could come up with such a terrifying method of torture. He was simply inhuman. How about it? Think carefully. Yang Hanwu said coldly. You're so vicious. Tai Tulong was furious. He was a mighty late-stage ruler, yet he was going to be humiliated like this. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Anya Shinv and Pan and I heard Yang Hongwu's words and couldn't help but blush. They cursed inwardly. Since when did Yang Hongwu become so shameless? He even thought of such a method. I can tell you, but please give me a quick death. In the end, Tai Tulong gave in and was filled with despair. Speak. Yang Hongwu couldn't help but laugh. What a wretch. Earlier, he said that he would give him a way out, but he refused. Now, in order to die a quick death, he agreed. 1,000 years ago, Shanhai Guanyue and I entered a secret realm. We found a fragment of the planar boat in the Black Fiend Abyss. Tai Tulong said. Chapter 19:13. What about the other parts? If they're just fragments, they don't mean much to me. What I want is the complete planar boat, Yang Hongwu said, looking at Tai Tulong. The secret territory you entered was in the Black Fiend Abyss. Where is it? I don't know. Tai Tulong shook his head. That secret territory disappeared a long time ago. When we entered the Black Fiend Abyss for the second time, we couldn't find its exact location. Disappeared? Yang Hongwu was slightly puzzled when he heard this. How could an ancient mystic realm disappear so easily? Of course, it was also possible. Some ancient secret territories were constantly on the move. Let's go find Shan Haiguanyue first. After that, the two of you will lead me to that secret territory. Yang Hongwu said, if we find it, perhaps I can let you live. But if we don't blame me for being impolite. Tai Xiaoyao opened his mouth. He really wanted to kill Tai Tulong, but Yang Hongwu had already spoken. He knew that the outcome couldn't be changed. If he dared to attack Tai Tulong now, he would be the one to die. Yes, no matter how unwilling he was, there was nothing he could do. If he dared to jump out now and ruin Yang Hongwu's plans, Yang Hongwu would probably kill him without hesitation. Tai Xiaoyao was a smart man. He naturally wouldn't be foolish at a time like this. Compared to his own life, everything else was secondary. Moreover, he thought that if Yang Hongwu and Tai Tulong left to find that secret territory, wouldn't he be able to control Iron Mountain City again? Although he knew that the possibility was very small, there was still a chance, wasn't there? All right, I promise you. Tai Tulong nodded. Who would be willing to die if there was a chance to live? Besides, as long as he was alive, there would be a chance. However, Yang Hongwu might not give him that chance. In truth, the Tongtian continent didn't hold much attraction for Yang Hongwu. However, before he left, he would create a good living environment for his son. After all, Yang Hongwu had already predicted that his son wouldn't. Tai Xiaoyao would leave. After all, Tai Xiaoyao was his son. He had his own ideas. He couldn't possibly follow his father. Therefore, after obtaining the planar boat, Yang Hongwu had to create a good environment for his son to leave. 4 hours later, we will go to Shanghai City. Yang Hongwu said, at that time, you will lead the way. The city lord of Shanghai City was Shanghai Guanyue. Shanghai Guanyue was different from Tai Tulong. He had always been the city lord of Shanghai City and controlled all the resources of the city. In truth, Shanghai City was much more powerful than Tai Tulong. In comparison, Shanghai Guanyue was much weaker. Of course, it was because of this that Shanghai Guanyue didn't fight to the death with Tai Tulong. However, as long as he had the chance, he would make a move on Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong was very happy to see Yang Hongwu looking for his old rival, Shanghai Guanyue. After all, he was now a prisoner. It would be great if Shanghai Guanyue could accompany him. Also, if Yang Hongwu and Shanghai Guanyue were both injured, he might have a chance. Although the possibility was small, it wasn't impossible. Of course, he didn't want Shanghai Guanyue to win. Once Shanghai Guanyue won, then Shanghai Guanyue wouldn't let him go if Yang Hongwu died. Therefore, he couldn't lose to Shanghai Guanyue. Of course, it would be best if both sides were injured. 4 hours passed quickly. These 4 hours were mainly to help Yang Tianjun refine the dragon-slaying axe. Thank you, Father. After Yang Tianjun had completely refined the dragon-slaying axe, he was overjoyed. With the dragon-slaying axe, his strength had increased several times. This was the power of a supreme treasure. Originally, refining the dragon-slaying axe was not something that could be done in a day. After all, it was a supreme treasure. However, it was different with Yang Hongwu's help. One had to know that Yang Hongwu's cultivation technique was extremely tyrannical, coupled with a divine flame like the red lotus karmic fire. Because of the dragon-slaying axe, Yang Tianjun was able to refine it so quickly. Is there a need to be so polite between you and me? Yang Hongwu patted his shoulder gently and said, all right, I still have things to do. I have to find a planar boat, so I can't stay by your side all the time. You have to cultivate well and consolidate your foundation. Cultivation. Father, I'll go with you. Yang Tianjun looked at Yang Hongwu and said, now that I've recovered and improved, I can help Father. I won't be a burden to you. Smiling, Yang Hongwu said, I'm glad you think that way. That's good enough. Just focus on your cultivation. Once I get the planar galleon, I'll head back to the lands of Heaven Span. Then, Iron Mountain City will be back. When Iron Mountain arrives, you'll have to rely on yourself. I can't always be by your side to help you. Hearing this, Yang Tianjun said, Father, I won't let you down. I'll become the strongest person in Tongtian and control the entire continent. Good. Yang Hongwu laughed and said, I believe you can do it. With that, Yang Hongwu left some things for Yang Tianjun. There were elixirs, talismans, and some treasures. These were the trump cards for Yang Hongwu. The entire formation of Iron Mountain City had been strengthened by Yang Hongwu. Besides his bloodline, no one else could control the formation of Iron Mountain City. This was equivalent to giving Yang Tianjun a protective talisman. After all, Yang Tianjun was still too young. Compared to those old fogies and old foxes, he was still lacking. This time, he left to find the planar boat. It would be difficult for him to return. Let's go. Say goodbye to your mother, Yang Hongwu said. Yang Tianjun could stay, but Pan and I had to go with him. Yang Hongwu wouldn't let his woman leave his side again. Pan and I had left because he wasn't strong enough. How could he let her leave again? Leave his side? Yang Tianjun nodded. After saying goodbye, Pan's eyes were filled with tears. She knew that she didn't know when she would see her son again. Chapter 19:14. You're too heartless. You're a heartless person. Pan and I was relentless. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. Once a woman's temper flared, it was hard to resist. Yang Hongwu could only try his best to persuade her. He's not weak now. My cultivation realm is far from his. Moreover, this trip to find the planar boat is fraught with danger. We're going to the Black Fiend Abyss. You know how dangerous it is. I'm sure you don't want to see our son take such a risk with us, right? Hearing this, Pan and I knew what Yang Hongwu was thinking. She also knew that he was right, so she didn't say anything else. All right, this is for his own good. I've already left him with many means. He'll be safe, Yang Hongwu said. After comforting Pan and I, Yang Hongwu and Anya Shin followed Tai Tulong to Shanghai City. Half a day later, the group finally arrived at the boundary of Shanghai City. In fact, if Yang Hongwu was alone, he could have arrived quickly. However, because of Tai Tulong, Yang Hongwu naturally didn't want to reveal too many trump cards. Young master, this is Shanghai City, Tai Tulong said as he pointed at an ancient city in front of them. This ancient city was beside a vast ocean. On one side of the city was an endless ocean, and on the other side was an ancient mountain. This was the origin of Shanghai City's name. What an ancient city. It's really shocking. Yang Hongwu could feel a special power from this ancient city. It was an ancient and mysterious power. This power seemed to be filled with supreme power, comparable to iron. The power he felt in Shanghai City was even more terrifying. This surprised Yang Hongwu. However, this ancient power didn't seem to be controlled by anyone. This was what puzzled Yang Hongwu the most. He didn't believe that the city lord, Shanghai Guanyue, wouldn't be able to sense the existence of this power. However, if he was aware of the existence of this power, why didn't he control it? Young master, you mustn't underestimate this city. There's a supreme formation in Shanghai City. It's a natural formation called the Shanghai Grand Formation. Iron Mountain City's defensive formation was set up by humans, but this Shanghai City's formation was naturally formed and has supreme power. It's much stronger than the defensive formation of Iron Mountain City. Therefore, it's too dangerous for us to barge into Shanghai City. If I was at my peak, I might be able to work with young master to open a crack in this formation. The crack leads into Shanghai City. However, my injuries are so severe that I don't even have a tenth of my cultivation left. It's impossible for me to force my way into the city, Tai Tulong said. Then what do you think we should do to enter Shanghai City? Yang Hongwu looked at Tai Tulong with great interest. Tai Tulong and Shanghai Guanyue were sworn enemies. As the saying goes, the person who understands you the most is not your friend or yourself, but your enemy. In truth, it wasn't difficult for Yang Hongwu to enter the formation. He just wanted to see what other tricks Tai Tulong had up his sleeves. As long as there was a chance, how could an old fox like Tai Tulong give it up? This time, he didn't bring Tai Xiaoyao along. Tai Xiaoyao was a good servant and was very capable. It was more appropriate for him to stay in Iron Mountain City and help Yang Tianjun. In fact, Yang Hongwu originally wanted Tai Tulong to become Yang Tianjun's servant and help him control Iron Mountain City. However, after thinking about it, he decided against it. After all, Tai Tulong was too strong. Although Yang Tianjun's strength had improved greatly, he was still too weak to control Tai Tulong. It'd be troublesome if Tai Tulong plotted against him. In addition, he wanted to use this old man to find the planar boat. It was for these two reasons that Yang Hongwu gave up on the idea of making Tai Tulong his servant. The cost of breaking the formation and entering Shanghai City is too great. It's not worth it. Therefore, I suggest that we lure Shanghai Guanyue out of Shanghai City. This is a good choice. When the time comes, we can make some arrangements. It will be easier to take him down. Tai Tulong said, after all, in Shanghai City, Shanghai Guanyue's strength is boosted by the power of Shanghai City. If it's outside Shanghai City, you only need to set up a formation to cut off his connection with Shanghai City. It will be much easier to deal with him. This was the truth. If they could print out, it would be much easier. That's right. What you said is true. However, it won't be easy to lure him out, right? Yang Hongwu said, Shanghai Guanyue should be in seclusion right now. Young master, you don't have to worry about this. Although Mountain Sea Watcher is in seclusion, it may be difficult for others to lure him out. However, with me around, it will be much easier. As long as I release my aura, it will be very difficult. Once Shanghai Guanyue senses my aura, he will definitely appear. Tai Tulong said, all right. Yang Hongwu nodded. First, he set up a formation. This formation naturally had both offensive and defensive capabilities. Furthermore, it was able to isolate the space around it. The isolation formation would not be activated first. He only activated the defensive formation. The reason he activated it first was because he was worried about the safety of Anya Shinv and Pan and I. Originally, Yang Hongwu wanted to send Pan and I into the Great World. However, since Panny did not agree no matter what, there was nothing Yang Hongwu could do. After the formation was activated, Yang Hongwu nodded to Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong had yet to recover from his injuries and was under Yang Hongwu's control. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was not worried that Tai Tulong would have any ideas. He allowed Tai Tulong to recover a portion of his cultivation and did not completely cripple him. As such, Tai Tulong completely unleashed his aura. He appeared outside the gates of Shanghai City and punched at the city. "Shanghai Guanyue, you old bastard, get out here." Tai Tulong's voice reverberated throughout the entire Shanghai City. If it weren't for the defensive formation, the gates of Shanghai City would have been smashed to smithereens by Tai Tulong. However, Tai Tulong was not in a good state either. He had suffered a backlash from the defensive formation. If it weren't for Yang Hongwu's talisman, his injuries would have worsened. Chapter 19:15. Calamity, calamity. "I'll go find the city lord," said one of the elders. No, the city lord is at a crucial moment in his cultivation. If we disturb him now, all his efforts will be for naught. Another person shook his head. "We can't do this, we can't do that. What should we do?" "That's Tai Tulong, and he's not here with good intentions. He's extremely strong, and he's the old ancestor of Iron Mountain City. If he dares to come here, he must have come prepared. If the city lord doesn't show up, we won't be able to stop him. But if we disturb the city lord now, not only will we disrupt his cultivation, but he'll also suffer a great backlash. When that happens, the city lord may not be able to stop the enemy. What should we do? Let's wait and see. If we really can't do it, we'll have to interrupt his cultivation." Shan Highland sighed. "Let me do it," Yang Hongwu said. Shanghai Guanyue is currently in seclusion. If Tai Tulong had been at his peak, he would have been able to force his way through Shanghai City's defensive formation and force Shanghai Guanyue to come out of seclusion. However, Tai Tulong's current cultivation was only equivalent to the early sovereign realm. He couldn't shake the defensive formation of Shanghai City. "How do you know?" Tai Tulong was shocked. "I heard it," Yang Hongwu said. The defensive formation of Shanghai City could isolate sound and information. Ordinary people couldn't hear it, but that wasn't a problem for Yang Hongwu. In fact, if someone knew how to read lips, they would be able to tell. When Shan Hailin and Zhao Hailin were speaking, they didn't use any spiritual techniques. Therefore, it was easy to tell. Even if they used a secret spiritual technique, Yang Hongwu could sense it. After all, the two elders hadn't reached the sovereign realm. If they had, he wouldn't have been able to interrupt their conversation. If that's the case, won't our plan fail? Tai Tulong looked at Yang Hongwu. "It doesn't matter." Yang Hongwu smiled and said, "Let's go in. A mere formation can't stop me." Coincidentally, Shanghai Guanyue is in seclusion, which gives us a good opportunity. As he said that, Yang Hongwu waved his hand, and streaks of light flew out like shooting stars. These streaks of light instantly struck the city, protecting formation of Shanghai City. In the next moment, the entire Shanghai City lit up, following which, the mountain protecting formation of Shanghai City exploded. A crack was torn open. Shan Hailin was stunned. "Formation, the Great City Barrier Formation has been activated." "That's impossible. Even a peak sovereign wouldn't be able to open the Great City Barrier Formation in a short period of time. Where did that young man come from? His cultivation hasn't even reached the sovereign realm. How could he possibly do that?" Shan Hailin shouted. "Open the array. Young master's strength is truly unfathomable." Tai Tulong was ecstatic. "All right, let's go in," Yang Hongwu said. "Stop them. We must stop them. Men, go kill them." Shan Hailin shouted. He knew very well that if Tai Tulong allowed them to disturb the city lord, they would be in big trouble. The most important person in Shanghai City was the city lord, Shanghai Guanyue. After all, he was the only sovereign realm cultivator, and only he could mobilize the city's power to stop outsiders. Originally, under special circumstances, if the city lord left Shanghai City, Shanghai Lin could use the power of Shanghai City to become the acting city lord. However, the problem now was that Shanghai Guanyue was in seclusion, and he was in Shanghai City. Shanghai Lin couldn't mobilize the city's power in his place. Shanghai Lin couldn't care less. He leapt up and appeared in front of Yang Hongwu and the other three. "How dare you block our way?" "Shanghai Lin," he asked. "Shanghai Lin, do you know that you're looking for death?" Tai Tulong looked at Shanghai Lin and said, "If you know what's good for you, you'll submit to young master and you'll have a chance to live." "Tai Tulong, you're the one with guts." "Tai Tulong, you're the one with guts," Shanghai Lin said coldly. "Our city lord, you are seeking your own death by entering our city. The city lord has already broken through. Originally, you were in Iron Mountain City, but you were in my city. If you were in Iron Mountain City, the city lord couldn't do anything to you, but you barged into our city. When the city lord returns, you'll die." Tai Tulong burst into laughter. "Do you take me for a fool? Shanghai Guanyue, that old bastard is in seclusion, right? As for breaking through, that's a joke. Do you think I don't know how talented that old bastard is? You want to lie to me? Impossible." Tai Tulong turned to Yang Hongwu and said, "Young master, leave this guy to me. You can go find Shanghai Guanyue." "Okay." Yang Hongwu nodded. He didn't have much time. Yang Hongwu realized that Shanghai City was quite interesting. There was a special power in the city that seemed ready to erupt at any moment. There was also another aura that was unstable, as if it was about to break through a bottleneck. This should be Shanghai Guanyue. Shanghai Guanyue was at a critical moment. If he broke through, it would be very troublesome. After all, the difference between late and peak ruler wasn't small. If he broke through, his strength would increase by several times. If that happened, it would be even more troublesome to deal with Shanghai Guanyue. Yang Hongwu wasn't the kind of person who liked trouble. "Stop him." Shanghai Lin was anxious. Shanghai Yun had already gone to call the city lord, so he and a few guards stayed behind. All of a sudden, a large number of Shanghai City guards appeared. These were the elites of Shanghai City. There were hundreds of them, and all of them were emperor level. However, Shanghai Lin was well aware of how terrifying Tai Tulong's strength was. Tai Tulong was someone who could go against his own city lord. Even with the help of over 100 Shanghai City guards, they wouldn't be able to hold him off for long. All he could do now was stall for time. When he faced Tai Tulong, he was pleasantly surprised to find that Tai Tulong's strength wasn't that terrifying. If Tai Tulong was at his peak, Shanghai Lin wouldn't be able to last long. He was just a half-step ruler who hadn't even reached the ruler level. In front of late ruler, he couldn't take a single blow. Chapter 1916. But while his idea was good, it wasn't realistic. Who was Yang Hongwu? If even Tai Tulong had to listen to him and submit to his control, how could he be so simple? Those who tried to stop Yang Hongwu were easily sent flying by Yang Hongwu. Although the guard were strong, they couldn't even get close to Yang Hongwu. He could only watch as Yang Hongwu walked toward the city lord's mansion. Shanghai Lin wanted to stop Tai Tulong, but he couldn't. He was too weak to break free from Tai Tulong's grasp. Although Tai Tulong was injured and his strength was greatly reduced, he was still stronger than a half-step sovereign. He could stop Tai Tulong. If he held on for too long, he'd be beaten to death. After all, there was no way to make up for the difference in strength. "We have to stop him." Shanghai Lin tried his best to stop Tai Tulong, but the difference in strength was too great. He was still sent flying. As he was sent flying, he shouted, "We can't let him enter the city lord's mansion." The guards didn't fear death either. They frantically tried to stop Yang Hongwu, even at the cost of their own lives. "These people are quite loyal," said Anya Shen. "Their loyalty is commendable, but they still have to die." Yang Hongwu said coldly, "Now is not the time to be soft-hearted. Anyone who stands in my way is my enemy. I'll kill them without mercy." Pan and I nodded. That should be the case. They knew very well that on the path of cultivation, they absolutely could not be too merciful when facing their enemies. Otherwise, the person who would die might be them. How could Pan and I and Anya Shin, who'd reached this level of cultivation, not know this? Let's go. Yang Hongwu took the two women's hands and instantly disappeared. The guards who were blocking Yang Hongwu's group looked at each other in dismay. They didn't know what to do. A moment later, Yang Hongwu appeared in the city lord's mansion. The formation around the mansion was nothing to Yang Hongwu. At this moment, Yang Hongwu could feel Shan Hai Guanyue's aura. One had to admit that Shan Hai Guanyue was truly powerful. In fact, the current Shan Hai Guanyue was even stronger than Tai Tulong at his peak. His aura was truly terrifying. Perhaps this was the reason why Tai Tulong was able to fight against Shan Hai Guanyue. Tai Tulong even had a slight advantage, probably because he had a powerful battle pet at the sovereign level. Without it, Tai Tulong wouldn't be Shan Hai Guanyue's match. In truth, Yang Hongwu guessed that this had something to do with the fact that Shanhai Guanyue controlled the entire Shanghai city, controlling its source and fate. Right now, Shanhai Guanyue was at a critical juncture in his cultivation. He wanted to break through the late sovereign realm and enter the peak sovereign realm. This wasn't an easy thing to do. This was a very good opportunity for Yang Hongwu. If he was not at the critical moment of his cultivation, he would have to spend a lot of effort to deal with Shanhai Guanyue. However, now that he was at the critical moment of his cultivation, it was much easier. Yang Hongwu would first set up the formation and then interrupt his cultivation. In this way, Shanhai Guanyue would definitely suffer a backlash. In this way, Shanhai Guanyue would be seriously injured and it would be easy to deal with him. Too much. However, just in case, Yang Hongwu arranged a formation in the City Lord Mansion, isolating the space of the entire City Lord Mansion. If Shanhai Guanyue wasn't in seclusion, it would be much more difficult to isolate the origin of Shanghai City from Shanhai Guanyue. After all, Shanhai Guanyue was much stronger than Tai Meng. They weren't on the same level. If Shanhai Guanyue was only at Tai Meng's level, Yang Hongwu wouldn't have to worry about him. Mountain Sea Watcher Moon was different. It was much, much stronger. It's you guys. At this time, one of the two elders who were outside the city gate appeared in the mansion. He came in a hurry to wake up Shanhai Guanyue. However, he did not expect Yang Hong to come out of the mansion at this time. The three of them had actually arrived at the city lord's mansion before him. Damn it! Go! Block them from me! That elder shouted loudly. The guard around him, as well as the guards in the city lord mansion, rushed out at this time and attacked Yang Hongwu crazily. As the most important place in Shanghai City, the city lord's manor was heavily guarded. However, they didn't expect Yang Hongwu and the other two to appear here without a sound. They didn't sense anything at all. If it wasn't for the fact that, if Shanhai Yun had noticed, the guards wouldn't have known that there were outsiders in the mansion. Yes, Elder Yun. Seeing them rush up, Yang Hongwu smiled. With a wave of his hand, a ray of light appeared and formed a barrier, blocking them outside. Damn it, this is a formation. How is this possible? How can he control the formation? Shanhai Yun was stunned. This was unbelievable. This was the formation of the mansion. How could he control it? It should be known that apart from Shanhai Guanyue, only a few people could control the array of the City Lord's mansion. Could it be that there was a traitor in the City Lord's mansion? Thinking about this, Shanhai Lin was terrified. There were only a few people who could control the formation of the manor. However, these people were the pillars of Shanghai City, the people that the City Lord trusted the most. Basically, there were no mistakes. There was a possibility of a traitor. If there really was a traitor, then it was too scary. However, now wasn't the time to care about a traitor. The most important thing now was to block the three of them. The others didn't know, but Shanhai Lin was very clear. At this moment, Shanhai Guanyue was at a crucial point in his cultivation. Forget it. However, with the formation in the way, it was very troublesome. He wanted to open the formation, but he realized that he couldn't control it. This meant that the other party's control of the formation was higher than his. In truth, What he didn't know was that Yang Hongwu had already changed the formation of the entire Shanghai City Lord's Manor. It was no longer the original formation. Who are you? Shan Haiyan looked at Yang Hongwu. At this moment, he only wanted to delay time. Since he couldn't break the formation, he could only think of a way to delay time. Yang Hongwu smiled and saw through Shan Haiyan's thoughts. He said, "You want to stall for time? Wait for Shanghai Guanyue to break through? You're too naive. It's impossible for your mayor to break through." Chapter 1917. Stop him! Stop him! Shan Haiyan shouted loudly. At this time, there were several people guarding the practice room of Shanghai Guanyue's mansion. These people were very strong. Shan Haiyan had no way to stop Yang Hongwu, so he could only shout loudly. He placed all his hopes on these people. "Humph! You're all ants. You can't even withstand a single blow. You want to stop me? Dream on." Yang Hongwu snorted lightly and punched out. This was the 10-direction killing fist. Now that Yang Hongwu was getting stronger and stronger, the power of his original skill was also increasing. It was getting more and more terrifying. Although these people were not weak, they were only Emperor Realm. These people were not strong enough in front of Yang Hongwu. When the killing fist was thrown out, it was as if countless Azuras and devils appeared. The terrifying killing intent instantly shrouded these people and sent them flying. After a few muffled sounds, these people hit the wall and could not move. Seeing this, Shan Haiyan was in complete despair. Yang Hongwu's strength was beyond his expectation. He thought that Yang Hongwu was just a divine Emperor Realm warrior. No matter how strong Yang Hongwu was, the guards should be able to resist him. But he never thought that Yang Hongwu would be so strong. However, he did not expect that the guards would be defeated like trash. They were defeated in a breath. There was no other way. He could only place his hopes on the restriction of the cultivation room of the city lord. As a city lord, Shanghai Guanyue was very concerned about his cultivation room. He had set up many restrictions outside his cultivation room. If the defense formation of the city lord's mansion was the first layer of protection, then the guards of the mansion were the second layer of protection. The defense formation of the city lord's mansion was the second layer of protection. The defense formation of the city lord's mansion was the most important and the third layer of protection. The third layer of protection could not be broken easily. Even if a sovereign realm expert came, he could not break it in a short period of time. It was impossible for him to tear it apart silently. Once someone attacked the defense formation of the cultivation room, he would be able to sense it, because he would be able to sense it. At that time, even if he stopped cultivating midway, he would be able to reduce his losses. However, he never expected that the person who would come looking for trouble this time would be Yang Hongwu. Although Yang Hongwu's cultivation was far from the sovereign realm, his attainments in formations and restrictions had already reached the pinnacle. There was almost no formation or restriction that could stop him. So this is the cultivation room. There's so many seals here. It's a pity that these ancient seals might be difficult for ordinary people. But in front of me, they can't even withstand a single blow. Yang Hong said. The corner of Wu's mouth curled up into a smile. The seal here was indeed very powerful. It belonged to the ancient seal. If one did not have attainments in the seal Dao, it would not be easy to break these seals. However, he was different. Husband, these restrictions aren't simple. Are you confident? Asked Pan and I. Don't worry. I can easily break these restrictions. Yang Hongwu chuckled. With a wave of his hand, a beam of light shot out. When the beam of light hit the seals started to melt like snow. They melted quickly like flames. Come, let's go in. Yang Hongwu activated the secret teleportation technique again. His secret teleportation technique had some problems in front of these seals. Now that the seals were broken, he could freely enter this place. Soon, Yang Hongwu entered the cultivation room. Shanghai Guanyue was sitting in the middle of this huge cultivation room. This cultivation room was huge, and the entire space was filled with boundless spiritual energy. Spiritual vein. This was the spiritual vein of Shanghai City. Yang Hongwu finally understood that a place that could be built into a city was definitely not that simple. In addition to being able to connect to the lower realm, it also needed to have a spiritual vein. If there was no spiritual vein, it would not be enough to support a city. Martial artists cultivated, for example, Flame City, Anya City, Iron Mountain City, etc. They all had spiritual veins. Shanghai City was different. You guys wait here. Yang Hongwu waved his hand and gave the two girls a defensive formation. He then walked toward Shanghai Guanyue with a cold smile. Initially, Yang Hongwu had thought that Shanghai Guanyue was an old man, just like Tai Tulong. To think that Shanghai Guanyue would be a woman. For a woman to be able to cultivate to such an extent and control such a city, that was something to be proud of. However, at this time, Yang Hongwu would not go easy on her just because she was a woman. Yin Yang's soul lock curse. Yang Hongwu made his move. He used a secret spiritual technique, the curse technique. Instantly, a ray of light shot out from Yang Hongwu's eyes. It turned into a small dragon and charged into Shanghai Guanyue's forehead, directly into her soul. Ah! Shanghai Guanyue screamed. A powerful qi exploded. The terrifying aura was like a sovereign realm expert's full-strength attack. It was terrifying. If it wasn't for the special defense of the cultivation room, the cultivation room would have been completely destroyed. Mountain Sea Watcher, who was in the middle of cultivation, was at the critical moment of a breakthrough. Even if he was slightly disturbed, he would suffer great damage. If his cultivation was interrupted, he would suffer a backlash, not to mention that his soul was directly damaged. Now that Shanghai Guanyue was seriously injured, she spat out a mouthful of blood. Her face was pale. It could be said that at this moment, any divine Emperor Realm expert could kill her. It showed how serious her injury was. Damn it, who are you? After being seriously injured, Shanghai Guanyue opened her eyes and stared at Yang Hongwu. She could not believe that someone had broken into her training room and injured her while she was training. Shanghai Guanyue, right? Yang Hongwu looked at her and said, "Do you want to live or die?" Shanghai Guanyue looked at him coldly. This was nonsense. Who would want to die? What do you want to do? At this moment, Shanghai Guanyue's mind was filled with many thoughts, and he had many guesses about Yang Hongwu's identity. This person was someone he had never seen before in Shanghai City, and he was able to enter without anyone noticing. The person in the cultivation room was definitely not simple. He could be that person or his descendant, because besides that person, no one else was able to break the restriction of the cultivation room without making a sound. Chapter 1918. However, even if you hurt me, it won't be that easy for you to kill me. Shanghai Guanyue's eyes flashed with madness as a mysterious power erupted from her body. Yang Hongwu could feel the power of the curse. Could it be that Shanghai Guanyue was going to use a curse against him? She seemed to be preparing to burn her life force to activate the art of curse. Although Yang Hongwu wasn't afraid of the art of curse, he was still afraid of the trouble. Once the art of curse was activated, it should be known that this was a late-stage sovereign realm expert. Using one's own lifespan to activate a curse was extremely terrifying. Even if he could break it, he would have to pay a huge price. Wait a moment. Yang Hongwu hurriedly stopped him. Don't misunderstand, Shanghai Guanyue. I don't know you at all. The reason I attacked you this time is because of Tai Tulong. I want to get it. The West is the planar arc. Back then, Tai Tulong told me that you were the one who obtained the planar arc fragment. Moreover, you and Tai Tulong entered a secret realm in the Black Fiend Abyss together to obtain this fragment. Tai Tulong, you're Tai Tulong's man. You want to lie to me? Impossible. Tai Tulong can't enter my cultivation room without being noticed. With his ability, he can't even enter Shanghai City. What kind of joke was this? Shanghai Guanyue didn't believe it at all. The formations and restrictions of Shanghai City were so powerful. If Tai Tulong could really enter Shanghai City without being noticed, how could Shanghai City resist? Tai Tulong obviously can't, but I can. Today, if you give me the fragment of the planar boat and accompany me to the Black Fiend Abyss to search for the other planar boat fragments, I will let you go. Yang Hongwu looked at Shanghai Guanyue and said, I don't deny that you are very strong. Moreover, I know what you want to do now. You want to use your own life as the price, burning your life and soul to activate the curse technique and curse me, right? However, I can tell you clearly that although your curse can cause me some trouble, it can't cause me too much harm. I'm just in a hurry and don't want the trouble. Moreover, I need you to help me find the planar boat. The most important thing now is to find the planar boat. You can break the curse? I don't believe it. Shanghai Guanyue said coldly. She was also recovering her cultivation. She could see that Yang Hongwu wasn't very strong. He was only a divine emperor. However, she knew that this was just a facade. That was because his true strength was definitely much stronger than what he had seen. But so what? This was Shanghai City. As long as she could communicate with the origin energy of Shanghai City, she could return to her peak in a short time. Yang Hongwu was very smart. How could he not see that? However, he wasn't worried because he had sealed the space. So what if Shanghai Guanyue's cultivation recovered a little? She couldn't turn the tables. After all, Shanghai Guanyue's injuries couldn't be healed in a short time. She could only recover if she could use the origin energy of Shanghai City. However, Yang Hongwu wouldn't give her the chance. Therefore, even if he knew that she was stalling for time, he didn't care. What Yang Hongwu was worried about was that she would fight him to the death and use her own life as the price to curse him. That would be troublesome. After all, he still wanted to rely on her and Tai Tulong to find the planar boat. You don't believe me? Yang Hongwu smiled and raised his right hand. A ball of flame appeared in his palm. The dancing flame looked like a red fairy. It was exceptionally beautiful. Is this the karmic fire? Seeing this, Shanghai Guanyue finally believed it. The karmic fire of the Red Lotus was one of the most powerful godly fires. It was terrifying. The karmic fire could indeed dispel curses. She couldn't deny this. If she used her life as the price to curse him, she could indeed hurt him. However, she might not be able to kill him and take him down with her. However, Shanghai Guanyue wouldn't be willing to compromise just like that. After all, the kid in front of her could be the descendant of that heartless man. You said that I mistook you for someone else. Then how did you enter my city? How did you enter my cultivation room without making a sound? She hated Yang Hongwu to the core. After all, he was the one who injured her and prevented her from breaking through. After suffering such a huge backlash, it wouldn't be easy for her to break through again in the future. Perhaps she wouldn't be able to break through again in the future. Therefore, it was impossible for her to let go of this hatred so easily. Let's not talk about the restrictions and formations of Shanghai City. Even all the restrictions and formations of Tongtian are nothing in front of me. There's no formation in this world that I, Yang Hongwu, can't break. Yang Hongwu was extremely confident. He waved his hand, and a restriction appeared in front of Shanghai Guanyue. Any formation or restriction is useless against me. Yang Hongwu's performance shocked Shanghai Guanyue. At least, she could tell that Yang Hongwu was definitely a powerful formation master. He could set up a formation with a wave of his hand. This was too powerful. It was far from what an ordinary person could do. He was right. In the entire Tongtian continent, there was probably no one who could surpass him in terms of formations and restrictions. Your attainments and restrictions are indeed very strong. However, if you want me to believe that you're not a descendant of Yi Tianxing, I still don't believe it. Shanghai Guanyue stared at Yang Hongwu and said, "Furthermore, even if you're not a descendant of Yi Tianxing, you've destroyed my chances of breaking through. My fortuitous encounter makes it impossible for me to break through in the future." Do you think I will agree to that? Yang Hongwu smiled. Since she said that, it meant that he still had a chance. After all, no one wanted to die. Of course, Yang Hongwu wouldn't be gentle with her just because she was a woman. If you don't agree, you can try. Yang Hongwu said coldly, "I have plenty of methods. If I don't get what I want, then the entire Shanghai city and the Shanghai continent will be destroyed by me. I'm a person who knows what will happen." Chapter 1919. However, Shanghai Guanyue was only momentarily frightened. A crazy person was indeed frightening. The key was that the other party was so young, and his talent was so great. This was the most frightening part. You want a planar boat. I'm afraid you want to enter the lower planes, right? Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "You said that you could destroy my Shanghai city. I won't deny this point, but you want to destroy Shanghai city? Lu, that's impossible. You can't enter the lower planes. If you could, then you wouldn't need to search for the planar boat." Yang Hongwu had to admit that Shanghai Guanyue was indeed a very smart person. If he could travel freely between the lower planes, then he wouldn't need the planar boat. You're very smart. I can't enter the lower planes for now, but that doesn't mean I can't enter the lower planes. Yang Hongwu said, "According to what I know, as long as you enter the sixth temple, you can easily enter the lower planes. You can enter the lower planes." Hearing this, Shanghai Guanyue smiled even more. What arrogance! I admit that your talent is astonishing, but in reality, entering the sixth self-defense divine palace is almost impossible. So, you mean that you know the conditions to enter the sixth self-defense divine palace? Yang Hongwu gazed at the mountain and the moon. In the sky-span continent, this was only the third self-defense divine hall. There were still 3 more self-defense divine halls before they reached the 6th one. Not to mention the test to enter the 6th self-defense divine hall. Even the test to enter the 3rd one was extremely difficult. In the entire sky-span continent, there were countless geniuses who would be able to enter the next self-defense divine hall. The number of people who did was extremely small. That's right, I know. Shanghai Guanyue said, "I can tell you clearly that after reaching the 5th Giga Divine Palace, it doesn't depend on cultivation at all, but on luck and talent. Moreover, the most important thing is that there is a huge age limit. If you're too old, you don't have the right to enter." Age, talent? Yang Hongwu smiled and said, "So what? I believe that I can do it. In truth, to me, the so-called test of the self-defense divine hall is just Tao, Lord Self-Defense's favor. I don't care." Shanghai Guanyue was stunned. In fact, she also came from the lower plains and wasn't a native of the Tongtian continent. This was the first time she heard that someone didn't care about Tao, Lord Jiga's favor. That was the dream of countless geniuses. Yes, of course, there were very few people who could gain Tao, Lord Jiga's favor. It was rumored that since the Jiga decree appeared, there were only 10 people who could gain Tao, Lord Jiga's favor. This showed how terrifying the ratio was. It must be known that there were countless geniuses in the entire universe, but only 10 people could catch the eye of Tao Lord Jiga. How rare was that? This also meant that every time the Jiga Divine Palace opened, there would only be one person in the entire universe who could enter, who could gain Tao, Lord Jiga's favor, and there might not even be one. However, Shanghai Guanyue didn't care. Perhaps it was because Yang Hongwu's words were normal. In fact, most people knew their own limits. You still haven't given me an answer? Do you want to find a planar boat for me or not? I don't have so much time to talk to you here. I know you want to stall for time, but no matter how long you stall for time, it won't cause any trouble to me. As for you wanting to stall for time to recover your cultivation and break the formation, it's impossible. No one can break the formation I set up except for me. Of course, unless you've reached the Tao Lord realm, then maybe it's still possible. Shanghai Guanyue was stalling for time. Yang Hongwu had already expected this and didn't care. However, he didn't want to waste too much time. For him, time was precious. Moreover, he was looking for the Black Fiend Abyss. It would take a lot of time to find the planar boat. Time waits for no man. For ordinary people, time waited for no man. However, Yang Hongwu couldn't. He couldn't afford a delay. Shanghai Guanyue tried many times and found that although her cultivation and injuries could be recovered, the speed was too slow. Moreover, she tried many times to communicate with the origin power of Shanghai City, but it was impossible. I can give you the fragment of the planar boat. As she spoke, Shanghai Guanyue took out something. A fragment appeared in her hand. This fragment was crystal clear and contained a powerful spatial aura. This is the fragment of the planar boat that I obtained. The planar boat should have been broken into 3 pieces. This is only one of them, and it's the smallest one. Shanghai Guanyue threw the fragment to Yang Hongwu. In fact, for Mountain Sea Moon Watcher, a mere fragment of the planar arc was not worth mentioning. This fragment of the planar arc was of little value to her. It was useless to keep it, but a pity to abandon it. Now that Yang Hongwu needed it, there was no harm in giving it to him. Not bad, as expected of a fragment of the planar boat. It's a pity that it's too little. After Yang Hongwu obtained this fragment, he was pleasantly surprised. This was indeed a fragment of the planar boat. No wonder it could travel through the planar boat. The spatial power contained in it was too powerful. Moreover, this was only a small fragment. In fact, Yang Hongwu was completely confident that as long as he could obtain half of the planar boat, he could obtain another fragment that was bigger than this one. With a fragment of the planar boat, he could use this fragment to teleport directly to the Divine Dominion. Therefore, this time, Yang Hongwu didn't necessarily need to find a complete planar boat. He only needed to obtain another fragment of the planar boat. Although the cost of traveling through the planar boat and returning to the Divine Dominion might be much higher, this was a helpless choice under the circumstances that there was no other way. I've given you the fragment of the planar boat. Can you release the restriction formation now? Shanhai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and asked. Chapter 1920. Swear. Yang Hongwu said, "That's not necessary. You just need to take this pill." For Yang Hongwu, the Oath of the Great Path had no binding power. After all, for him, as long as he was strong enough, he could even refine the thunder tribulation of the Great Path. It was not a big deal. If he was not strong enough, he would even try to summon the Great Tao, thunder tribulation, to improve his cultivation. Of course, Yang Hongwu did not dare to take too much risk. After all, it was the Great Tao thunder tribulation. If he deliberately summoned the Great Tao thunder tribulation to improve his cultivation, it would be a provocation to the Great Tao. How powerful and terrifying was the Great Tao? Yang Hongwu was not very strong, because he had not reached that level. If he was a Great Tao Lord, perhaps he would know how powerful the so-called Great Tao was. Perhaps the Great Tao of a great universe was a Great Tao Lord. After all, this was just his guess. Yang Hongwu had never seen a real Great Tao Lord. He did not know what realm a real Great Tao Lord was at, or how strong he was. However, one thing was certain. A Great Tao Lord was very powerful. It was far from what a sovereign expert could compare to. In fact, a half-step Great Tao Lord was like an ant in front of a real Great Tao Lord. He could kill them with a breath. If it was any other time, Yang Hongwu would not be confident enough to use a pill to control Shanhai Guanyue. After all, she was too strong. As long as she was given enough time, the power in this pill would be enough for her. Obliterate. In fact, Yang Hongwu was not too concerned. This pill could not control the moon, gazing mountain, and sea for too long. Perhaps in less than a year, the moon, gazing mountain, and sea would be able to break free from the shackles of the pill. But to Yang Hongwu, this was enough. When Shanhai Guanyue heard that Yang Hongwu only wanted her to take a pill, she was a little surprised and worried. Oaths were relative. She had made a Great Tao oath, so Yang Hongwu also had to make an oath. In this way, both sides signed a contract. If one side violated it, they would be punished by the Great Tao. But it was different if she took the pill. Yes, it meant that she was being restricted. Even if she was confident that she could break it, it was still dangerous. Therefore, Shanhai Guanyue was not very willing. Take the pill. This won't do. Shanhai Guanyue shook his head and said, "I only believe in contracts and vows. In that case, there will be restrictions on both of us. But if I take your pill, I may be unilaterally controlled by you, or even become your slave. If that's the case, I'd rather take you down with me." Shanhai Guanyue stared at Yang Hongwu, his eyes flashing with madness. At that time, even if you use Shanghai City and the Shanghai continent to threaten me, it will be impossible. After I die, who cares about the flood? Shanhai Guanyue's tone was firm. This made Yang Hongwu somewhat surprised. He did not expect that Shanhai Guanyue would actually refuse. In fact, I can tell you that even a contractual oath is nothing to me. I don't care about the lightning tribulation of the great path, Yang Hongwu said. If you agree, we can work together. If you don't, then we'll fight to the death. Shanghai Guanyue said coldly. Although you have cut off my connection with Shanghai City, I still have a way to blow it up. As he said that, Shanghai Guanyue took out something. That was the City Lord Seal of Shanghai City. However, this City Lord Seal was different from other City Lord Seals. Yang Hongwu used his eye technique to see it. This is the seal of the City Lord of Shanghai City. It can control the entire city. Although you have cut off my connection with Shanghai City, if I destroy this seal, then Shanghai City will self-destruct. This seal can only be done in the hands of the City Lord. Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and said coldly, if I'm not wrong, those two women are very important to you. I don't know what trump cards you have, but maybe the self-destruction of Shanghai City won't be able to create a threat to you. You'll become a deadly threat, but those two women won't be able to survive. Moreover, you'll never be able to get the planer boat that you want. You dare to threaten me? Yang Hongwu looked at Shanghai Guanyue, his eyes flashing with a terrifying, killing intent. In my life, what I hate the most is being threatened. Those who dare to threaten me will never have a good ending. Do you know that? At this moment, Yang Hongwu was furious. This Shanghai Guanyue actually dared to threaten him. However, Yang Hongwu had to admit that her words did pose a threat to him. He was confident that he would be fine, but it was different for Pan and I and Anya Shenv. After all, they didn't have as strong a physical body as he did. Hence, Yang Hongwu wasn't willing to take the risk. If it was like before, when he resisted the Tao lightning tribulation and was plotted against by Zetian, he had no choice but to cultivate again. That kind of mistake once was enough. Yang Hongwu wasn't willing to do it again. The second time, after all, if it wasn't for that time, he would have found all the women. Now, he didn't even know where they were. If something happened to them, it would be too late for him to cry. Hence, Yang Hongwu wouldn't allow that kind of situation to happen a second time. If Shanghai City self-destructed, even if he would be fine, he might enter the space turbulence. At that time, who knew where he would be swept to by the void storm? Even if this was just his guess and the possibility wasn't high, Yang Hongwu wasn't willing to take the risk. So what? Shanghai Guanyue said coldly when she heard Yang Hongwu's words. I'm not afraid of death. Yang Hongwu bitterly smiled in his heart. A crazy woman was definitely very scary. Yang Hongwu had to admit that women and men were different. If a woman had reached the point of madness, she would be able to do anything. She was even scarier than a man. Just like how she initially thought that she was the descendant of that heartless man, Yi Qianxing. Yang Hongwu took a deep breath and looked at Shanghai Guanyue. You win. I agree. Yang Hongwu had no other choice. Although he hated being threatened, he didn't have much of a choice now, because he wanted to get the planar arc and return to the Divine Dominion. This was the most important thing, and the most important thing for him to do. As for everything else, Chapter 1921. After making the oath and signing the contract, Yang Hongwu looked at Shanghai Guanyue and said, Today, follow me to the Black Fiend Abyss to find the fragments of the planar boat. In fact, of the 3 fragments of the planar boat, I have one and I know where the other one is. It's not in the Black Fiend Abyss, said Shanghai Guanyue. Yang Hongwu was surprised. She actually knew the whereabouts of the planar boat fragment. Wasn't that even better? Where is it? In the chaotic astral sea, said Shanghai Guanyue. Her eyes were filled with killing intent. Where is the chaotic astral sea? Yang Hongwu furrowed his brows slightly. After entering the heavenly reach continent, he had gained some understanding of it. However, he had never heard of the chaotic astral ocean. The chaotic astral sea is on the other side of the sea region of Shanghai City, said Shanghai Guanyue. You're not trying to deceive me, are you? Yang Hongwu said coldly. If you dare to deceive me, you know the consequences. Of course not. Shanghai Guanyue shook her head. Besides, I've already made the oath. If I break it, I'll suffer the backlash of the Great Tao. With my current cultivation, I can't bear the punishment of the Great Tao. She looked at Yang Hongwu and said, To tell you the truth, I only obtained 2 fragments of the planar Arkansas. One was the fragment that Tai Talong had, which is the one I just gave you. The other fragment was much larger than this one. It belonged to the planar Arkansas. The other is the most important part of the planar boat. That fragment was taken by that bastard Yi Tianxing. Shanghai Guanyue gritted her teeth. Yi Tianxing, your old flame? Yang Hongwu asked. Shanghai Guanyue's eyes flashed coldly. Do you want to die together with me? Just kidding. Yang Hongwu saw that Shanghai Guanyue was angry and couldn't help but laugh. In fact, Shanghai Guanyue was quite good-looking. She didn't lose out to his woman at all. That Yi Tianxing didn't know how to appreciate beauty. How could he be willing to scheme against such a beauty? I don't want you to say something like that again. Otherwise, I'll die with you, said Shanghai Guanyue coldly. Yang Hongwu hurriedly said no. At this time, women really couldn't be provoked. Some women, when hatred, especially when it came to love, it was Shanghai Guanyue, especially when it came to hatred, they were Shanghai Guanyue. This was the case for Shanghai Guanyue. Her hatred for Yi Tianxing had reached a rather terrifying level. Shanghai Guanyue, Shanghai Guanyue, Shanghai Guanyue. Shanghai Guanyue's strength was very strong. If even she couldn't do anything, then it proved that the other party's strength was definitely not weak. Back then, when that bastard escaped, he was only at the early stage of the sovereign realm. Over the years, even if his strength has increased, it won't be by much. Right now, he's only at the mid-stage of the sovereign realm. To you, a mere mid-stage sovereign realm cultivation is nothing. What's so difficult about it? Shanghai Guanyue said. When Yang Hongwu heard this, he found it strange and asked, middle-stage sovereigns, with your cultivation, are you still afraid of mid-stage sovereigns? Logically speaking, Shanghai Guanyue was a late-stage dominator. It wasn't impossible for him to deal with a mid-stage dominator. Even if the opponent was supported by the origin energy of the city, he could still deal with them. You think I don't? Shanghai Guanyue said, although I'm stronger than that beast, I can't enter the chaotic astral ocean. Unable to enter the chaos star ocean, Yang Hongwu was stunned when he heard this, and he said, what's going on? Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and said, how did you cultivate? Did your elders not tell you the basics? The Skyspan continent was a continent, but it also had an ocean. The ocean folk lived in this ocean, and these ocean folk were all terrifyingly strong. The Chaos Astral Sea was located directly across from this ocean. If one wished to enter it, they would have to pass through this ocean. However, passing through this ocean was no easy task. Even a half-step Dowlord would be able to do so. Even a half-step dominator can face life-threatening dangers in the sea, let alone a late-stage dominator. Then, how did Yi Tianxing come here? Yang Hongwu said, spatial teleportation formation. Shanghai Guanyue said, back then, that bastard used an ancient teleportation formation to teleport here. However, after he teleported away, he destroyed the teleportation formation. This is also why I can't find that one. That's why he took revenge. Teleportation formation? Yang Hongwu said, don't you have a way to set it up? Yang Hongwu didn't believe that Shanghai Guanyue, as the city lord of Shanghai City, couldn't set up a teleportation formation to enter the chaotic astral ocean. It's not that easy. Shanghai Guanyue shook her head. Ordinary teleportation formations can't teleport you there. You need an ancient teleportation formation. That ancient teleportation formation was lost long ago, and ordinary formation masters can't set it up. If you use it, you'll be torn apart by the spatial turbulence. Where's the ancient teleportation formation? Yang Hongwu asked. Can you really set it up? Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu. She was also worried. Although she wanted to take revenge on the heartless man, she was not willing to take the risk. If she was not absolutely sure, she would not take the risk. She had to try. After all, this was a matter of life and death. I don't know. I have to take a look at the formation first. Yang Hongwu said, although the ancient teleportation formation was destroyed, I can repair it as long as there are some remnants. It's on a small island outside of Shanghai City. Shanghai Guanyue said, you can release the formation now. Yang Hongwu nodded and said, "By the way, I think you should put aside the enmity between you and Tai Tulong for the time being. Once I get what I want, you can fight however you want. But before I get the planer boat, I won't let you off. If you fight, then don't blame me for being impolite." Chapter 1922. After the restriction of the formation was removed, Shanghai Guanyue immediately felt the origin energy of Shanghai City. In an instant, her cultivation base recovered and reached its peak once more. However, this was due to the support of Shanghai City's origin energy. Without the support of Shanghai City's origin energy, she still wouldn't have recovered. She looked at Yang Hongwu with a complicated expression. At this moment, she really wanted to kill Yang Hongwu. However, she didn't have enough confidence to kill Yang Hongwu. Moreover, the two of them had already signed an oath and an agreement. Naturally, she couldn't go back on her word. "Let's go and meet your old enemy," Yang Hongwu said. Shanghai Guanyue naturally knew who Yang Hongwu was referring to. It was Tai Tulong. Speaking of which, Shanghai Guanyue's hatred for Tai Tulong had deepened. If it weren't for Tai Tulong, Yang Hongwu probably wouldn't have come to Shanghai City. The city wouldn't have let her fall to such a state. She was a city lord. How could she be willing to be reduced to Yang Hongwu's subordinate? However, she couldn't do anything to Yang Hongwu. Therefore, she could only think of ways to vent her anger on Tai Tulong. Although she had promised not to fight to the death with Tai Tulong during this period of time, she could still plot against him. As long as she didn't interfere with Yang Hongwu's search for the Ark of the Realm, it didn't matter. She was very clear on this point. In fact, for Shanghai Guanyue, this might not be a disaster. As the saying goes, fortune and misfortune depend on each other. How could one say for sure? She had always wanted to deal with that bastard, Yi Tianqing. This time, she finally had the chance. Although she didn't know how Yang Hongwu could reactivate the ancient teleportation formation, from his expression and tone, it wouldn't be difficult to reactivate a destroyed ancient teleportation formation. If it was an ordinary person, Shanghai Guanyue wouldn't believe it. However, she had to admit that Yang Hongwu's attainments and formations were unparalleled. If he had a way to repair the teleportation formation, she would be able to do it. That being said, this was not entirely impossible. "These two are your wives." Shanghai Guanyue looked at Pan and I and Dark Night Goddess and said, these two women definitely had a high position in Yang Hongwu's heart. She could see that these two women were very talented. Unfortunately, they were very talented. Unfortunately, this young man wasn't a faithful person. Hearing Shanghai Guanyue's words, Pan and I didn't say anything. However, Anya Shin's face turned red. Although she had fallen in love with Yang Hongwu, she still hadn't officially become Yang Hongwu's wife. However, Anya Shin didn't argue with Shanghai Guanyue's words. Yang Hongwu originally wanted to say something. However, when he saw Anya Shin's eyes and expression, he sighed. How could he not know what Anya Shin was thinking? He wasn't a fool and had seen through it long ago. "I am Pan and I. This is Sister Anya." Pan and I opened her mouth. "Are you the Shanghai City Lord?" "I thought the Shanghai City Lord was an old man. I didn't expect you to be such a beautiful sister." Pan's tone was really passionate. "Sister Pan and I, you're also very pretty. Much prettier than me." Shanghai Guanyue said, "No wonder young master was so cruel to me and didn't show any mercy. So it's because young master has a beauty like you." All of a sudden, the three of them couldn't stop talking. It was as if they were sisters, making Yang Hongwu speechless. "Okay, let's go out first. If not, I'm not sure how many of your people will still be alive." Yang Hongwu said. After all, Tai Tulong had a huge grudge with Shanghai City. Yang Hongwu didn't think that Tai Tulong would show mercy. Hence, many of the Shanghai City experts would probably be killed by Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong, that bastard. He killed 7 elders of my Shanghai City. I won't let him go in the future. Cold light shot out from Shanghai Guanyue's eyes. Tai Tulong was a tactful person and didn't kill ordinary people. However, he had killed 7 of the elders of Shanghai City. These 7 were all experts of the Emperor Realm. There weren't many experts in Shanghai City, and each one of them had the potential to reach the ruler realm. Now, they were all killed by Tai Tulong. This meant that in the next 1,000 years, Shanghai City wouldn't have any experts. To a city in the Tongtian continent, this was fatal. Without an expert to hold the fort, Shanghai City would suffer a huge loss. The speed of cultivation in Shanghai City would be much slower than before. Luckily, the young geniuses of Shanghai City were in the midst of training. Otherwise, they would have been killed by Tai Tulong. The young geniuses were the foundation of Shanghai City. If they were all killed, then Shanghai City would not be able to withstand the pressure. If Shanghai City was killed, Shanghai City would suffer a disastrous decline. Tai Tulong, young master. Tai Tulong also saw Shanghai Guanyue behind Yang Hongwu. But what surprised him was that Shanghai Guanyue was actually a woman. You're Shanghai Guanyue? How is this possible? You're actually a woman? Initially, Tai Tulong saw Shanghai Guanyu with a mask on her face. He did not expect to see Shanghai Guanyu's face this time. She was a woman. He had been fighting with a woman for so many years, but he could not was enough to suppress the other party, which made him very depressed. Why? Are you surprised? Shanghai Guanyue said coldly. You killed so many of my people. Today, I'll kill you to avenge them. Having said that, Mountain Sea Watcher charged towards Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong's current cultivation base was not at his peak. Shanghai Guanyue could tell that if he was at his peak, he might be able to fight against her. Although Shanghai Guanyue was injured as well, this was Shanghai City, and she could do it. She could use the origin power of Shanghai City. Therefore, if she really wanted to kill Tai Tulong, she could definitely do it. Young master, save me. Seeing this, Tai Tulong's expression changed. He hadn't expected Shanghai Guanyue to be able to use the source energy of Shanghai City. This meant that Yang Hongwu hadn't taken away the seal of Shanghai Guanyue. Now he knew his roots. He knew that he was no match for her. The moment he spoke, Shanghai Guanyue's fist was already in front of him. Tai Tulong hurriedly blocked it. Pong! The two powerful forces collided. Tai Tulong was instantly sent flying. He crashed into the city wall, causing it to collapse. Chapter 1923. As soon as Yang Hongwu said that, Shanghai Guanyue, who had the upper hand, stopped attacking. Tai Tulong was battered and exhausted. He glared hatefully at Shanghai Guanyue, not daring to say anything more. He hated Shanghai Guanyue to the core. If looks could kill, Shanghai Guanyue would have been riddled with holes by now. Shanghai Guanyue, take me to the ancient teleportation formation, Yang Hongwu said. Yes, young master. I'll have someone prepare the warship immediately. Shanghai Guanyue said. However, young master, the strange sea beasts have been restless recently. They seem to be attacking the mainland. I'm worried that something unexpected might happen. Strange sea beasts? Yang Hongwu said, what's going on? Originally, the strange sea beasts would only attack the mainland once every 1,000 years. Shanghai City is one of the many cities near the sea beast defense line. However, in less than 1,000 years, we've noticed strange movements from the sea beasts. I'm worried that something big has happened. Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and said, in fact, the strange sea beasts on the Tongtian continent were very powerful. The reason why Shanghai City didn't have any other sovereigns besides Shanghai Guanyue was because the other sovereigns had gone to guard the coastal defense line. That was why there were no other sovereigns in Shanghai City. In fact, Shanghai City was much stronger than Iron Mountain City. However, the true experts in the cities near the coastal defense line were stationed there. They couldn't leave the coastal defense line easily unless the cities were in danger of being destroyed. Otherwise, they couldn't return to the cities easily. It's fine. They're just strange sea beasts. Yang Hongwu smiled. If there's a chance, we can capture a few powerful strange beasts as battle pets. Young master, this isn't an easy task. Powerful exotic beasts can't be easily tamed. Back then, I had to pay a huge price to raise that Snake King battle pet. Furthermore, I had to pay a huge price to raise it since it was young. I even managed to tame it after obtaining a divine pet pill from an ancient ruin. Tai Tulong replied, if not for that deity's pet pellet, I wouldn't have been able to tame that serpent king. It's a pity that it was killed by the young master. Tai Tulong's heart ached at the thought of this. If he had the Snake King battle pet, even if his strength was reduced, he could still rely on the Snake King battle pet's strength to fight Shanhai Guanyue. It's fine. It's just a divine pet pill. I can refine it. When Yang Hongwu was still weak, he had subdued a few battle pets with the help of the blood pet pill. The divine pet pill was the evolved version of the blood pet pill. The blood pet pill was effective on ordinary exotic beasts. It was useful, but it was completely ineffective against powerful exotic beasts. However, the divine pet pill was different. It could be used to subdue dominator-level exotic beasts. If it was in the past, Yang Hongwu's strength would not have been enough to refine it. But now, Yang Hongwu's strength had increased by many times. Naturally, he could refine it. As a matter of fact, those pills were of little use to Yang Hongwu. After all, he already had his own battle pet. Both Lu Li and Mao were actually his battle pets. Young Master can refine the divine pet pill. Both Shanhai Guanyue and Tai Tulong were shocked. Shanhai Guanyue, in particular, wanted a battle pet very much. Back then, she had been suppressed by Tai Tulong because he had a snake battle pet. Therefore, she really wanted to get a battle pet. It wasn't just Shanhai Guanyue and Tai Tulong. In fact, everyone in the sky-reaching continent wanted a powerful battle pet. Sister Shanhai, our husband is very powerful. It's just a mere divine pet pill. Husband can easily refine it. If sister wants it, it's not impossible. At this time, Li Chia's heart was filled with excitement. Pan and I said, really? Then, can you refine a divine pet pill for me? Shanhai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu, his eyes sparkling. He really wanted to get his hands on a god pet elixir. Young master, I want one too. Tai Tulong swallowed his saliva and looked at Yang Hongwu. If Shanhai Guanyue got the divine pet pill and tamed a battle pet, he would be no match for her. Even if he recovered his strength, he wouldn't be able to defeat her. As long as you help me find the fragments of the planar boat, I can refine the divine pet pill for you. I can even tell you the whereabouts of the divine token. Yang Hongwu looked at the two of them. Divine token? Shanhai Guanyue was even more shocked. She knew what the divine token was. In the divine temple of Zhiga, it was the most precious and attractive thing. Even the most supreme treasure couldn't compare to the divine token. A divine invitation token was a supreme treasure. Moreover, it contained supreme divine abilities and secret arts. Once one obtained the divine invitation token and comprehended the divine abilities and secret arts contained within, one would have a chance to become Dao Monarch Zhiga's successor. This was something that everyone dreamed of. Moreover, the person who obtained the divine token could directly enter the next divine temple of Zhiga. It was because of these reasons that the divine token was so precious. The divine token was something that everyone fought for. No matter the price, it was worth it. However, the number of people who could obtain a divine token was far too few. The divine token was an existence that only existed in legends. In fact, the people who were valued by Dao Lord Zhiga were all those who obtained a divine token. It could be said that without the divine token, it was basically impossible to become Zhiga Dao Lord's disciple and inherit his legacy. The divine token was equivalent to a threshold or a pass. Without it, it was impossible to enter Zhiga Dao Lord's eyes. The reason why the Forsaken Shrine was connected to the cosmos and why the geniuses of the cosmos were so eager to enter the Forsaken Shrine was because they wanted to gain Dao Lord Forsaken's acknowledgement, receive his legacy, and become his disciple. Dao Lord Zhiga was an unparalleled figure. Anyone who could become his disciple and receive his legacy would have an exalted status as well. Even ordinary Dao Lords wouldn't be able to compare to the title of Dao Lord Zhiga's disciple. Chapter 1924. However, despite Yang Hongwu's apparent disdain for the divine token, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue didn't think so. After all, no one could resist the temptation of such a precious item. Looking at their constantly changing expressions, Yang Hongwu naturally knew what they were thinking at this moment. To tell you the truth, the only thing that can attract me is the mystic arts within the divine token. I don't care about anything else, Yang Hongwu said. Anya Shin knew very well that Yang Hongwu had a divine token. Yang Hongwu had obtained a divine token when he was in the second divine temple and entered the third divine temple. However, what Anya Shin didn't expect was that Yang Hongwu wanted to obtain the planar arc and leave the Tongtian continent. He wasn't going back to the Dark Knight continent, but to his original continent, the so-called Divine Dominion realm. Don't worry, young master. I will definitely help you find the planar arc, Tai Tulong said. Yang Hongwu nodded. I hope so. Aren't there 3 fragments of the planar arc? One is in Shan Hai Guanyue's hands. Young master should have obtained it by now. The other fragment might be in the mobile secret realm in the Black Fiend Abyss. However, that secret realm needs to be found first. I'm afraid it won't be opened in a short period of time, Tai Tulong said. The second fragment of the planar arc is in the chaotic astral sea. Shanhai Guanyue has already told me this. Therefore, our destination this time isn't the Black Fiend Abyss, but the chaotic astral sea. Yang Hongwu looked at Tai Tulong and said, The chaotic astral ocean. Tai Tulong's expression changed slightly. Young master, I've heard of the chaotic astral ocean. However, it's very dangerous to go there. We have to sail across the vast sea to reach the chaotic astral ocean. Among them, the sea is filled with dangers. There are countless strange beasts of the sea race. The slightest bit of carelessness could lead to eternal damnation. Tai Tulong finally understood why Yang Hongwu had asked Shanhai Guanyue to pilot the warship. The sea is fraught with danger. I'm naturally aware of this. This time, we're not going to sail directly to the chaotic astral ocean. We're going to use a teleportation formation, Yang Hongwu explained. There's an island not far away. There's an ancient teleportation formation on the island that can transport us directly to the chaotic astral ocean. However, that formation needs to be repaired. Tai Tulong's words, Tai Tulong's words. Even if they were at their peak, it would be difficult to reach the chaotic astral ocean directly. Even if they were at their peak, they still wouldn't be able to reach the chaotic astral ocean. Well, however, if they were to use a warship to go to an island not far away and then use a teleportation array, it would be a different story. Although this was dangerous, the risk factor was much lower. Of course, he was very clearly aware that even if the ancient teleportation formation couldn't be repaired, Yang Hongwu would probably choose to directly take the warship to the chaotic star ocean. However, in that way, the danger would be too great, but he couldn't refuse. Yang Hongwu's decision wasn't something he could change. If he didn't agree, death would be the only thing that awaited him. Sir, the warship is here. Let's move out immediately. I have a bad feeling about this, Shanhai Guanyue said. Don't worry. I've already sensed that 2 beasts of the sea race are here. This time, I'm afraid they're coming for Shanghai City. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes and looked at the vast sea in the distance. There was a tall protective sea wall at the edge of the sea. Moreover, there was a powerful formation set up on the wall. This was the first line of defense against the invasion of the sea race beasts. This line of defense could block a large portion of the sea race beasts. However, for those powerful sea race beasts, it wasn't difficult to break through this line of defense. Every time the sea race beasts invaded, they had to break through this line of defense first. However, due to the fact that there were experts guarding the defense line, it wouldn't be easy for the oceanic beasts to launch a full-scale invasion. After all, the first line of defense was the formation of the seawall, and the second line of defense was the experts guarding the seawall. Now, the group had arrived at a port on the seawall. An ancient warship appeared in front of them. City Lord, the warship is ready. A tall man with a scar on his face said to Shanhai Guanyue. Good. Shanhai Guanyue nodded and said to Yang Hongwu, Sir, sisters, this is the Shanhai No. 1 warship. It's the oldest warship in Shanghai City. Although it's not the strongest, it's the fastest. It's the fastest. There were hundreds of warships in Shanghai City, and a Shanghai #1 warship was the strongest. There were 10 Shanghai #1 warships, from number 1 to number 10. This was the Shanghai #1 warship, famous for its speed. Although the scarred man didn't understand why the city lord was so respectful to Yang Hongwu, he didn't say much. Instead, he said to Shanghai Guanyue, "If the city lord wants to go out to sea, I don't think it's the best time. The sea beasts are getting restless. I'm afraid the sea beasts are causing trouble. So, city lord, if you want to go out to sea, it's best to wait until the sea tide is over." The scar man's words were right. "It's okay, I already know. It's just a sea beast, I can deal with it." Shanghai Guanyue waved his hand. "Go, open the sea wall, and start the warship." "Yes, city lord." When the scarred man heard this, he knew that he couldn't change Shanghai Guanyue's decision. He nodded and walked towards the sea wall. At this moment, the waves outside the sea wall surged violently. Huge waves instantly surged up. The terrifying waves were hundreds of feet tall. It was as if a tsunami had been created. The huge waves kept crashing against the sea wall. Not good, damn the sea beasts. At this moment, everyone saw a huge figure in the waves. The sea beasts were here. Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes. He had already seen the sea beasts. They were strong, and there were more than one of them. Both of them had reached the sovereign realm. The vanguard was most likely a probing attack by the sea race's mutated beasts. Chapter 1925. These two beasts deserve to die, Yang Hongwu said coldly. "Sir, let me deal with these two beasts first," Shanghai Guanyue said at this moment. "Are you confident? These two beasts are not simple." Yang Hongwu looked at Shanghai Guanyue and said, "In fact, these two sea beasts were not simple. On the surface, they looked like they only had the strength of an early-stage sovereign. On the surface, these two sea beasts were probably one. In other words, although they looked like two sea beasts, they were actually one. At the critical moment, they could combine. Most people wouldn't be able to see this. If it weren't for Yang Hongwu's Dharma, Eye of Annihilation, which allowed him to see through the essence of everything, he wouldn't have known that these two exotic beasts were actually one entity. Young master, don't worry. Although these two beasts are strong, I am not weak either. I am the lord of Shanghai City. This is still within the territory of Shanghai City. I can borrow the power of Shanghai City to deal with these two beasts." As he said that, Shanghai Guanyue leaped up and disappeared from the spot. In the next moment, he appeared in front of the sea wall. A bright light shot out from the seal in Shanghai Guanyue's hand. Then, rays of light appeared in the void and intertwined to form a huge net. This huge net instantly trapped the two giant beasts. The net trapped the beasts. The two trapped beasts struggled and roared, but they were unable to break free from the net of light and shadow. This was one of the supreme treasures of Shanghai City, the heavenly law net. Unless the enemy was much stronger than Shanghai Guanyue, it was impossible to break free from the heavenly law net. Of course, if Shanghai Guanyue used up too much energy and could not hold on, it would be a different story. This also meant that the two sea beasts could not break free from the net unless they waited for Shanghai Guanyue to run out of energy. Waiting for Shanghai Guanyue to run out of energy was not something that could be done in a short time. What a huge net! What a supreme treasure! Yang Hongwu stared at the net in astonishment. He had to admit that the power of the net was boundless. If he was trapped in the net, he would not be able to break out in a short period of time. This was a huge net. Of course, he had the devouring furnace, the life seal, and other supreme treasures. He could definitely break through the net of law. It was just a matter of time. Roar! At this time, the two giant beasts trapped in the big net roared. Then, something shocking happened. The two giant beasts emitted a dazzling light. Terrifying waves kept churning in the entire sea. The two of them actually merged together. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They had never thought that the sea beast could do something like this. Only Yang Hongwu was not surprised at all. What kind of beast is this? It can merge? Anya Shin was shocked to see the beast in front of him. This is practically unheard of. Tai Talong spoke up as well. This was definitely something that he had never seen before. I've never seen such an exotic beast before, but I've read some information about it in an ancient book. It's rumored that in the ancient era of nothingness, there was a terrifying beast that could split itself into countless bodies, and these bodies could be divided into different parts. It will continue to grow, and in the end, it will be able to combine again. After combining, it will become incomparably powerful, many times stronger than before. At this moment, Pan and I spoke. What kind of beast is that? Yang Hongwu looked at Pan and I and asked, which ancient book did you read about it? Yang Hongwu was very curious about this. If there was an ancient book that recorded such a beast, it would not be so simple. Perhaps there were even more strange beasts recorded in it. I don't know. The ancient book I saw was incomplete. Pan and I shook her head and said, that ancient book was in the ancestral land of my clan. I've been out for countless years now and have never gone back. I don't know if there are any more. If there's a chance, I'll go back. Speaking of this, Pan Ni's eyes were filled with tears. We can go back. Trust me. As long as we find a planer boat, we can go back. Yang Hongwu comforted. Impossible. Pan and I shook her head and said, husband, you don't know. Things aren't that simple. Looking at Pan Ni's appearance, Yang Hongwu's heart ached. He wanted to ask her what was going on and why she couldn't go back. However, this wasn't a suitable place. There were many things that weren't suitable for outsiders to know. Although Anya Shin was no longer an outsider, there was still Tai Tulong. I'll definitely find a way. Trust me. Yang Hongwu said. Okay. Pan and I nodded and leaned in Yang Hongwu's arms, watching the battle between Shan Hai Guan Yue and the sea beast in the distance. The sudden change shocked Shan Hai Guan Yue. She didn't expect the sea beast to have such a miraculous secret technique that allowed them to fuse into one. More importantly, after the two beasts fused, they became extremely powerful. Their auras became extremely terrifying. They actually reached the half-step Dao Lord level. After the two beasts fused, their strength increased explosively, causing her to feel immense pressure. Originally, she could kill the two beasts, but now she couldn't. After all, her opponents had reached the half-step Dao Lord level. She could only trap them, not kill them. If they were just two early-stage rulers, then with the support of the Heavenspan Law Net and the origin energy of Shanghai City, she would be able to deal with them. She was completely capable of killing these two beasts, but now she was unable to do so. This made her very worried. This was just the fusion of two beasts. If two more of these beasts fused, wouldn't it be incredible? The two beasts in front of her were nothing to be afraid of. However, she was worried that if such beasts appeared in the future, she would be caught off guard. Or if some even more powerful beasts fused into one. Wouldn't that be incredible? If that was the case, perhaps the entire sky-reaching continent would fall into the hands of those damned sea beasts. Chapter 1926. Yang Hongwu instantly appeared beside Shanhai Guanyue. Young Master. Shanhai Guanyue wasn't surprised to see Yang Hongwu appear. She knew that Yang Hongwu wanted to end the battle quickly. She had to admit that even with the support of the entire Shanghai city, she might not be able to defeat Yang Hongwu. He was comparable to Yang Hongwu. I'm sorry to disappoint you, young master. This beast is far too strong. It's already comparable to a half-step Dowlord. I can only temporarily trap it, but I can't kill it. Don't worry, you've already trapped it. Leave the rest to me. Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed with a cold light. He raised his right hand, and a large seal appeared in his palm. A powerful force was released from the seal. It was released. Tai Tulong couldn't be more familiar with this seal. Its power was astonishing. He had suffered a loss because of this seal. If it wasn't for this seal, he wouldn't have ended up like this. He wouldn't have become Yang Hongwu's servant. He couldn't control it. With a wave of Yang Hongwu's hand, the seal instantly pierced through the net and bombarded the giant beast. The moment it passed through the net, the life seal shone brightly, as if it had turned into a mountain. In an instant, It slammed into the head of the giant beast. Then, a cracking sound was heard. Yang Hongwu's attack smashed a hole in the giant beast's head. Its huge body was instantly smashed into the ground. However, this attack didn't kill the terrifying giant beast. All he did was injure him. Seeing this scene, everyone was taken aback. Even Yang Hongwu himself was astonished. The strength of this giant beast was truly formidable, and its defense was also extremely terrifying. What a terrifying defense! Young master, I'm afraid we won't be able to kill this beast when it fuses. We can only think of a way to separate the two beasts. Shanghai Guanyue said. Okay. Yang Hongwu nodded. He had to admit that he really didn't have enough confidence to kill this beast in the case of fusion. Although the attack just now had injured it, Yang Hongwu himself was also very clear about the power consumed by that attack. Although such an attack could cause damage to the beast, it also consumed a lot of his own strength. Once or twice of such an attack was not a problem, but if he continued to use it, it would be detrimental to him. If he continued to use it, the consumption would be too great. At that time, his common people great world might not be able to support such a huge consumption. In that case, even if he could kill the beast, it wouldn't be worth it. You attack this beast first. I'll see what's going on, Yang Hongwu said to Shanghai Guanyue. Yang Hongwu planned to use his eye technique to observe the situation of the beast after it fused. Although he took a look before, he didn't use his Dharma Eye of Annihilation. This time, Yang Hongwu planned to use part of the power of his Dharma Eye of Annihilation to find the weakness of this beast and break its fusion technique. In that case, these two beasts would be nothing to be afraid of. Okay. Shanghai Guanyue nodded. Then he stretched out his hand and condensed a ray of light. This ray of light was like a meteor breaking through the sky, instantly rushing towards the giant beast. At this time, the giant beast had raised its head. The place where it was injured by Yang Hongwu had completely recovered. Yang Hongwu could not help but exclaim at this sight. Not only did this beast have a shocking defense, its recovery speed was also pretty terrifying. In the face of such a powerful beast, ordinary people couldn't kill it at all. Yang Hongwu guessed that even a half-step Dao lord of the same realm couldn't kill it completely. Therefore, the only way to deal with this beast was to break its fusion technique. Only in this way would there be a way to kill it. Otherwise, it would be impossible to do so. The moment Shanghai Guanyue's attack hit the beast, Yang Hongwu saw a clue. Although this beast's physical body was strong, its soul wasn't very good. This beast's soul wasn't as terrifying as its physical body. Terrifying. Originally, Yang Hongwu planned to use the Red Lotus Hellfire to try burning it. However, at this time, he had already seen the beast's weakness. As long as he attacked the beast's soul, he could defeat or even kill it. I've found the beast's weakness, Yang Hongwu said at this time. Yang Hongwu didn't think that the soul of this beast was the same as its body. If that was the case, it would be terrifying. Yang Hongwu didn't think that the soul of this beast was the same as its body. If that was the case, then it would be terrifying. Young master, you found a way to separate it? Shanghai Guanyue was a little surprised and asked. If he could really find the beast's weakness, it would be a huge surprise and a huge breakthrough. After all, this was a mutated beast. The beasts were probably the vanguard of the sea race's strange beasts. They were just probing attacks. They were equivalent to human scouts. They were only here to explore the path. The real main force was still behind them and hadn't caught up yet. In this world, the sea area was huge, several times wider than the Tongtian continent. Therefore, there were definitely many experts in the sea area. Every time the exotic sea beasts launched an attack on the Tongtian continent, they would be repelled. However, the experts of the Tongtian continent all realized the horror of the sea race beasts. It was always the sea race beasts that attacked the Tongtian continent, but the human race didn't attack the sea race and the sea race. This was the difference. Well, I'll try, but I'm not 100% sure. Yang Hongwu said, You attract the beast's attention, I'll attack. Shanghai Guanyue nodded. Once again, He launched an attack on the giant beast. However, this time, the attack was not as powerful as before, but it still attracted the attention of the giant beast. After all, in the eyes of the giant beast, Shanhai Guanyue's strength was equivalent to the late sovereign realm, while Yang Hongwu's aura was only at the divine emperor realm. A divine emperor realm warrior was like an ant. It didn't even think about Yang Hongwu's attack. It thought that Yang Hongwu's attack was launched. Good chance. Yang Hongwu saw that the giant beast's attention was completely attracted by Shanhai Guanyue. At this time, Yang Hongwu's eyes lit up, and he immediately launched an attack. Yin Yang Soul-Locking Spell. Chapter 1927. This time, the soul of the giant beast suffered a heavy blow. After a few breaths, the giant beast turned back into two beasts, and its body returned to its original form. Good move, young master. Looking at this scene, Shanhai Guanyue couldn't help but be surprised. She had seen the means that Yang Hongwu used just now. Soul attack technique. That was a curse technique, soul curse technique. This exotic beast's physical body was terrifying. Its defense was shocking, and its recovery was terrifying. However, its soul was its weakness, its fatal weakness. As long as there was a weakness, there was nothing to worry about. However, the problem was that this weakness was not something that could be easily grasped, unless one had a soul attack secret technique. Without a soul attack secret technique, there was nothing one could do about it. Shanhai Guanyue was glad. If it was not for Yang Hongwu, the defense of Shanhai City might not have been able to withstand it. Catch one alive. Yang Hongwu said. Okay. Shanhai Guanyue nodded. Catching one alive for research was indeed a good choice. As the saying goes, know thyself, know thy enemy, and thou shalt win every battle. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible to catch this guy. However, now was the best chance. However, right at that moment, the two beasts actually started to swell up. Not good, they're going to self-destruct. Yang Hongwu's face changed. This was not within his formation, so he could not control it. At this moment, Shanhai Guanyue also noticed it. However, she still could not stop the two beasts from self-destructing. Young master, I can't stop that beast from self-destructing. Shanhai Guanyue was depressed. She wanted to catch them alive, but it was impossible now. She could not stop the two beasts from self-destructing. Naturally, she could not catch them alive. Yes, not only could she not catch them alive, but she could not even keep their bodies. Once they self-destructed, there would be nothing left of them. Boom! With a loud explosion, the two beasts self-destructed, instantly causing a huge wave. Even Shanhai Guanyue was injured. After all, she was too close to the beast. Unlike Yang Hongwu, she cannot go straight. She then teleported away. Are you okay? Yang Hongwu once again appeared beside Shanhai Guanyue and looked at her. If this guy was seriously injured at this time, it would be troublesome. However, looking at the situation, Shanhai Guanyue was only lightly injured. After all, he had the protection of the formation. The formation of Shanhai City was not so simple. After all, this was the first barrier against the invasion of the sea race beasts. How could it be so easily broken? Destroy it. Thank you for your concern. I'm fine, just a little injury. It's just a pity that I couldn't catch those two strange beasts. Not even their bones were left behind. Shanhai Guanyue shook his head and said regretfully, It's all right. Yang Hongwu said, It seems like there's more than one of them. This is just a probing attack. If there were only two of them, I'm afraid they wouldn't have come at this time. This was the truth, and Shanhai Guanyue was very clear about it. Young master is right. Shanhai Guanyue nodded. However, luckily these strange beasts have a weakness. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Once the weakness is found, it's easy to deal with. However, the strength of these two strange beasts is still a little weak. If they were stronger, even if we knew the weakness, it would be difficult to deal with them. So, you'd better be prepared. Train some warriors who are good at soul attacks. When the time comes, if one of them can't do it, then a few of them will work together and use the soul attack secret technique. Yang Hongwu said to Shanghai Guanyue. Soul attack secret technique, this. Shanghai Guanyue shook his head and laughed bitterly in his heart. In Shanghai City, there are no warriors who are good at soul attacks. Shanghai Guanyue felt helpless. In truth, not to mention Shanghai City, even in the entire Tongtian continent, there were not many people who were good at soul attacks. This was the real problem. If those strange beasts of the sea race, especially those that could merge, were numerous, it would be a huge disaster for the warriors of Tongtian continent. Young Master knows soul attack secret techniques. I wonder if Young Master can train some warriors for my Shanghai City? Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu, his face full of hope. Sure. At this time, Pan and I said, to deal with the strange beasts of the sea race, we should do our part. Moreover, Sister promised to help us find the planar boat. As long as we find the planar boat, I will make the decision to give Sister a spirit. How about soul attack secret techniques? Thank you, Sister. Shanghai Guanyue was overjoyed. As long as Pan and I promised, she was not worried that Yang Hongwu would not agree. In truth, after spending some time together, Shanghai Guanyue had some understanding of Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu doted on Pan and I a lot. As long as she agreed, Yang Hongwu would not go back on his word. Shanghai Guanyue had enough. He was confident. As long as he could get the soul attack secret techniques, he would be able to deal with such strange beasts if he encountered them again. Okay, now that the strange beasts of the sea race have been dealt with, let's go to that small island. Yang Hongwu said, we can't afford to waste time. Yes, young master. I will get people to start the warship immediately. As he said that, Shanghai Guanyue ordered people to start the warship. Yang Hongwu and his group entered the warship. The warship was very fast and was fully equipped. There were many seals on the warship. These seals had a very strong defensive power. However, there were no seals on the warship. However, Yang Hongwu saw it. If he could modify the restriction inscriptions on the warship, the strength of the warship would increase by several times. I can modify this warship, Lin Feng said. Yang Hongwu said, after all, it would take some time to sail in this sea area. If the defensive power of the warship was too weak, it would be troublesome if it encountered any problems. Yang Hongwu didn't want to fly in this sea area without a warship. This sea area was not an ordinary sea area. The seawater in this sea area was highly corrosive. This was also the reason why most people didn't want to enter this sea area. Generally speaking, Yang Hongwu didn't want to fly in this sea area. When people entered this sea region, their strength would be greatly reduced. Unless they had a water attribute physique or cultivated water attribute secret techniques, they would be able to come and go freely and display their full strength. Chapter 1928. Then I'll have to trouble you. Since Yang Hongwu said so, he naturally had confidence. If he could really modify the warship and increase its power, it would be great. Moreover, Shanghai Guanyue also believed that Yang Hongwu would not lose face. After all, if he failed, it would be shameful. At this level of cultivation, face was very important. For experts, losing face was not a small matter. For experts, face was sometimes comparable to life. Even if they had to fight to the death, they could not lose face. Because of this, Shanghai Guanyue believed that Yang Hongwu would not joke about this matter. Yang Hongwu came to the control center of the warship and saw the restriction inscriptions in the control center. He smiled slightly. This was the main control center of the entire warship. The restriction and inscriptions here were related to the warship, the defense and attack power of the warship. Yang Hongwu's hands were constantly forming seals. One seal after another was inserted into the core of the warship. The core of the warship became brighter and brighter. Come, drip a drop of blood essence. Yang Hongwu said to Shanghai Guanyue. Shanghai Guanyue heard this, hesitated for a moment, but soon nodded and forced out a drop of blood essence. Yang Hongwu inserted the drop of blood essence into the core of the warship. At this time, the entire warship produced a wisp of spiritual intelligence. This immediately stunned Shanghai Guanyue and the others. When Yang Hongwu modified all the inscriptions and restrictions of the warship looked brand new. Not only did its power increase, but it also produced spiritual intelligence. This was a method of refining weapons, and not an ordinary one. It directly made the warship produce a weapon spirit. As the owner, Shanghai Guanyuan knew it clearly. Compared to before, this warship had been completely reborn. Compared to before, its power had increased by 10 times. Well, the warship has been modified, Yang Hongwu said. Not good. There's a lightning tribulation. At this time, everyone's face changed. Because above the vast sea, there was a dark tribulation cloud. A terrifying aura shrouded the entire warship. The entire sea calmed down. The surging waves were forcefully suppressed. Who was going to undergo the tribulation at this time? What a bastard. Shanghai Guanyue was furious. They were sailing in the sea. Moreover, there were so many people on the warship. If they were to undergo the tribulation, it would be troublesome. With so many people together, they would be enveloped in the lightning tribulation. This would be considered as many people undergoing the tribulation, and the power would become very terrifying. In this way, no one could withstand the terrifying lightning tribulation. Even if they could, they would be seriously injured. It was because of this that Mountain Sea Watcher was so angry. The best solution now was to let the person who was undergoing the lightning tribulation leave the battle. At this moment, everyone looked at each other and shook their heads. No one is undergoing tribulation. No one is transcending the tribulation. Are you kidding me? What's up with the tribulation cloud in the sky? Don't tell me that there's a strong sea race beast undergoing the tribulation under the sea, using the lightning tribulation to deal with us? Shanghai Guanyue's eyes flashed coldly. At this time, there were still people who dare to hide it. He was furious. I won't believe such lies. If you don't tell me and I find out, you will bear the consequences. You will suffer my wrath. City Lord, there's really no one undergoing the tribulation. Everyone on the warship explained bitterly. We don't want to die. Don't blame them, Yang Hongwu said. It's not their fault. They aren't the ones who are transcending the tribulation. It's not them. Sir, you know who it is? Could it be that there's a sea race beast plotting against us? Shanghai Guanyue's face changed. If it was really a sea race beast plotting against them, it would be much scarier than the warriors on the warship undergoing the tribulation. No, it's this warship that's undergoing the tribulation. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, This warship has been upgraded by me and has become extremely powerful. It's like refining weapons. If a powerful weapon is refined, it will attract the lightning tribulation. It's the same for the warship. This is not an ordinary lightning tribulation, but a weapon tribulation. A weapon refining tribulation? That's right. Yang Hongwu nodded and said, This is already a top-grade supreme treasure. I have to admit that the materials used to make this warship are really good. Moreover, after so many years, this warship has already been tainted with spirituality, which is why it was able to give birth to an artifact spirit. With the addition of my inscriptions and restrictions, this warship can evolve and become what it is today. This is unbelievable. Everyone was stunned. The warship was huge, and its material was special. No one had ever refined a warship into a supreme treasure. It was not that no one had ever thought of it, but it was impossible. It seemed that it was because of the restrictions of the laws of this world. Such a warship, but Yang Hongwu had done it. It's true. It's not someone undergoing the tribulation, nor is it a plot by the sea race beasts. It's the warship that's undergoing the tribulation. At this moment, Shanghai Guanyue also understood, because she understood the meaning of the warship. She also got the news from the warship. If it couldn't pass the tribulation, this warship would be destroyed and turned into ashes. However, if it passed the tribulation, this warship would soar into the sky, and its strength would increase by another level. In reality, this warship was equivalent to a late-stage sovereign expert. Moreover, it was an expert that could travel freely in this sea region and display its strongest combat strength. This was definitely a huge improvement for Shanghai City. Young master, this tribulation is probably difficult to pass. If there are so many of us, we won't be able to pass it. Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Young master, do you have any ideas? If that's the case, I'm afraid we won't be able to pass the tribulation. We'll all die here. It's okay, it's just a tribulation. I can deal with it. Yang Hongwu said as he floated up and flew towards the tribulation clouds. Crazy, this is crazy. Does he want to directly destroy the tribulation clouds? This is simply impossible. This is a provocation to the tribulation. Under normal circumstances, no one would make such a crazy decision to directly rush towards the tribulation clouds. This was definitely asking for it. Damn it. Chapter 1929. Success. This was indeed a success. After the tribulation clouds were swallowed, Yang Hongwu landed on the warship. At this moment, Yang Hongwu was extremely domineering. Mighty. At this moment, everyone on the warship began to cheer. One had to admit that at this moment, Yang Hongwu was too mighty and domineering. However, no one had ever been able to do this. Directly swallowing the lightning tribulation. How mighty and domineering was that? Just a small matter, not worth mentioning. Okay, now full speed ahead. Yang Hongwu waved his hand. Yes, young master. At this moment, the Shanghai City crew on the warship did not wait for Shanghai Guanyue's orders and directly accelerated the warship. This point made Shanghai Guanyue a little jealous. As the city lord of Shanghai City, she could order these martial artists. Who would have thought that Yang Hongwu could do the same? Along the way, the warship met a group of sea race beasts. City lord, there is a group of tiger head sharks ahead. A martial artist reported to Shanghai Guanyue. In truth, Shanghai Guanyue already knew about this group of tiger head sharks. These tiger head sharks were extremely strong. One of the tiger head sharks was comparable to the sovereign realm, while the other tiger head sharks were comparable to the emperor realm. This time, moreover, this group of tiger head sharks numbered in the hundreds. If it was a normal warship without an expert, it would not be able to stop them. Even escaping would be impossible. The power of the warship is enough to kill these beasts. Yang Hongwu opened his mouth and said, Good, we can test the power of the warship. Shanghai Guanyue nodded. Attack these beasts. After receiving Shanghai Guanyue's order, the martial artist shouted, Attack! Attack! After the order to attack was given, the two cannons on the warship instantly shot out white energy beams, instantly bombarding the tiger head sharks at the front. In the next moment, those tiger head sharks were instantly blown to pieces. Everyone was stunned. The might of this warship was too overbearing. Their attack power is really terrifying. The strength of these tiger head sharks is equivalent to the emperor realm. One of the martial artists took a deep breath. If this had been in the past, it would have been absolutely impossible. Although this warship was powerful, it was simply impossible. It could kill an emperor-level tiger head shark with one shot. Its power is astonishing. Young master, if this warship were to unleash its full power, how powerful would it be? Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and said, After all, the battleship was modified by Yang Hongwu, and its power was not known yet. There were tests, but Yang Hongwu should have known about it. It's the strongest attack. If there's enough energy, this warship can kill a late-stage sovereign realm expert, Yang Hongwu said. Hearing this, Shanghai Guanyue could not help but suck in a cold breath. In the past, the possibility of such a warship killing a sovereign-level beast wasn't high. In a battle, the most important thing was still the strength of the experts on the warship. Their strength was enough to deal with the powerful beasts. But now, the situation was different. But now, the power of this warship alone was enough to kill a late-stage sovereign realm exotic beast. How could Shanghai Guanyue not be shocked? Young master, are you speaking the truth? Shanghai Guanyue asked. If this was true, it would be too shocking. If more warships like this could be modified, Then the human race of the Tongtian continent would no longer have to worry about the exotic beasts in the vast sea. Although the Tongtian continent was only one of the planes in Lord Taoist Zhiga's Zhiga Divine Palace, this plane had become the foundation of many martial artists. For many people, this was their root. Moreover, no matter what plane or world, the human race and the exotic beasts were always at odds. Just like the human race and the demon race, they were also at odds. As the saying goes, those who are not of our race must have different hearts. As long as they were not of the human race, they could not coexist. This was the case for the human race and the exotic beasts. Of course it's true. Moreover, the power of the warship is not limited to what you see. Charge, don't attack. Charge directly, Yang Hongwu said at this time. Young master, is this feasible? This time, the martial artists on the warship were very worried. Charging directly was a little too crazy. This was not using cannons to open a path, but directly using the warship. Although the warship's power was astonishing, charging directly meant that the entire warship would have to bear the crazy attacks of the tiger-head sharks. City Lord. At this time, the warriors on the warship looked at Shanhai Guanyue. This time, they did not dare to make the decision. They had to obey Shanhai Guanyue's orders. After all, Shanhai Guanyue was the one who made the decision. Shanhai Guanyue was the true master of this warship. Young master's idea is my idea, Shanhai Guanyue said. In fact, she did not need anyone to drive the warship. She only needed a thought. She could even let the spirit of the warship control it. However, she did not want to expose the power of the warship. This warship was now equivalent to another powerful trump card of hers. Especially in the sea, this warship could be said to be invincible. This was because, at the very least, there was no warship in the Tongtian continent that could compare to the Mountain Sea warship. No, now this warship should not be called Shanhai Warship. It should be called Super Shanhai Warship. Since Yang Hongwu wanted to test the defensive power of the Super Shanhai Warship, Shanhai Guanyue certainly would not refuse. She also wanted to see how powerful the Super Shanhai Warship could be. Would its defensive power be as terrifying as its offensive power? With a command, the Super Shanhai Warship moved forward at full speed, directly rushing towards the group of tiger-head sharks. Attack! Destroy this human warship. At this moment, the Tiger King shark in the sea roared. All the other tiger-head sharks madly attacked the warship. Tear it apart, tear it apart. The tiger-head sharks roared and rushed towards the Super Shanhai warship. Chapter 1930. The domineering aura of the Super Shanhai ship made Shanhai Guanyue extremely excited. The modified Shanhai ship was too powerful. With such a mountain sea cruiser, one would be able to roam the vast seas unhindered. If they had a few more ships like this, what would they have to worry about? They could just attack them directly. Why would they have to wait for these beasts to attack and defend passively? The Super Shanhai ship went on a rampage, killing and injuring the tiger-head sharks. The Tiger King shark saw that the situation was bad and wanted to leave. He had to spread the news. Otherwise, in the future, would the sea race have any chance of survival? City Lord, that beast wants to escape. At this moment, a warrior on the ship saw the Tiger King shark. The Tiger King shark escaped at full speed. Its speed was indeed very fast. Although the Super Mountain Sea was very fast, it was still inferior to the Tiger King shark. Although the Tiger King shark couldn't stop the Mountain Sea, it could still escape. That was a problem. Shanhai Guanyue naturally saw this scene, but she couldn't do anything. The Shanhai ship's speed had reached its limit. City Lord, we can't let that beast escape. Otherwise, it will leak the news of the Super Shanhai ship. I'm afraid we will become the target of everyone. One of the elders said. This was the truth. If the news of the Shanhai ship being so strong was leaked out, not only would the other cities be wary of Shanhai City, but Shanhai City would also become the most feared city of the entire sea race. When that happened, Shanhai City would probably, if that happened, Shanhai City would become the target of the entire sea race. This wasn't something she wanted to see. The Super Mountain Sea battleship is indeed powerful, but there is only one Super Mountain Sea battleship. No matter how powerful it is, there is only one Super Mountain Sea battleship. Looking at the Tiger King shark getting further and further away, Shanghai Guanyue couldn't do anything. She looked at Yang Hongwu. Maybe he had a way. Young master, can we kill that Tiger King shark? Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and asked. Yes. Yang Hongwu smiled and said, let's go. Just as Yang Hongwu's voice fell, the Mountain Sea ship suddenly appeared in front of the Tiger King shark and heavily slammed into its body. The Tiger King shark's body was instantly sent flying. This sudden change left everyone dumbfounded. They couldn't believe it at all. The distance between the Mountain Sea battleship and the Tiger King shark was very far, at least several hundred feet. But in the blink of an eye, the Mountain Sea battleship appeared in front of the Tiger King shark and gave it a heavy blow. This was simply inexplicable. Shanghai's ship had the ability of space jump? As the Shanghai Guanyue, she knew that it was impossible. If the Shanghai ship had such an ability, how would she not know about it? Since it wasn't the Mountain Sea ship, it had to be Yang Hongwu. To be able to directly teleport a warship and appear in front of the Tiger King shark, such a divine ability was really too powerful. If the Shanghai ship had such an ability, then it would be invincible. Not only chasing people, but also escaping, it was heaven-defying. Young master, did you do this? Shanghai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and said. Yang Hongwu nodded. This beast core is useful to me. Yang Hongwu said. This Tiger King shark was at least a Dominator-level beast. After all, Dominator-level beasts were very rare. Their core was of great help to Yang Hongwu. It could be used to set up a formation. It was a top-grade energy source. Without a spiritual vein, Yang Hongwu didn't want to waste the power of the common people's great world to set up a formation. If he had enough beast cores, then it would be great. Young master, do you need beast cores? Shanghai Guanyue heard and said, I have a few here. As he spoke, Mountain Sea Watcher Moon took out 3 beast cores. 2 of the 3 beast cores were Dominator class. Yang Hongwu didn't stand on ceremony and took them. After killing these Tiger King sharks, the ship quickly came to a small island. Yang Hongwu looked at the small island from afar. This small island was filled with a mysterious energy. This small island didn't seem so simple. There seemed to be a powerful seal under the island. Who knows what kind of existence was sealed? Young master, we're here. This is the small island. In truth, this small island didn't seem very eye-catching. If it wasn't for the broken buildings on the island, it would be a deserted island. This small island isn't simple. Yang Hongwu said to the 2 girls, you 2 stay on the ship. I'll go down and take a look. This is just an ordinary small island. There shouldn't be any danger, right? Pan and I said, Young master, this island is not that mysterious, right? Although this was where the ancient teleportation formation of Shanghai City was located and was an important military area. Ever since the ancient teleportation formation was destroyed, this place was abandoned. Furthermore, this island is so small that it can't be used. Moreover, it is an important place. There shouldn't be any problems. Shanghai Guanyue said. However, since Yang Hongwu said that, Shanghai Guanyue couldn't help but frown. No, Yang Hongwu said, Nini, you must listen. Don't make me worry. Seeing Yang Hongwu so serious, Pan and I and Anya Shin didn't insist. Yang Hongwu never spoke without thinking. Since he said that, then there was definitely a problem. Then husband, you must be careful. Yang Hongwu nodded. Therefore, Yang Hongwu, Shanghai Guanyue, and a few other Shanghai City cultivators set foot on the deserted island. He originally wanted to open his Dharma Eye of Annihilation to check it out, but he had a bad feeling. There seemed to be something here that could restrict his Dharma Eye of Annihilation. This was something Yang Hongwu had never encountered before, so he didn't use his Dharma Eye of Annihilation. According to what Yang Hongwu knew, the Dharma Eye of Annihilation was the most powerful divine eye in the universe, but it wasn't impossible to restrain it. The nemesis of the Dharma Eye of Annihilation was a terrifying ancient mutated beast. This ancient mutated beast fed on the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. This mutated beast fed on it. In fact, it wasn't just the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Most of the divine eyes in the universe were food for this mutated beast. Chapter 1931. After stepping on the island, Yang Hongwu felt that there was a special rhythm on the island. This special rhythm was like the heartbeat of a human. Heartbeat. Thinking of this, Yang Hongwu was even more nervous. Could this island be the body of a huge, exotic beast? There was indeed such a possibility. Perhaps this strange beast was in a deep slumber. However, if this strange beast was really the kind of strange beast that fed on divine eyes, then it must not be allowed to wake up. Without absolute certainty, it was better to be careful. Young master, this is the array formation. Soon, they came to a relic. This relic was where the remnants of the ancient formation were. Shanhai Guanyue pointed at the destroyed formation and said to Yang Hongwu, "Yes, it is indeed a teleportation formation." Yang Hongwu inspected it. This formation was indeed an ancient teleportation formation. It was very mysterious. No wonder ordinary people could not repair it. The core of this formation had been destroyed. In order to repair this array formation, a spatial array disk must be made. This spatial array disk was not an ordinary one. Ordinary people would not be able to make it. Moreover, the materials needed were also very precious. In addition, the method used to make this formation was very mysterious. Therefore, it was very difficult to repair this ancient teleportation formation. Not only that, but this teleportation formation could only send people to the chaotic astral ocean. Spending such a huge price to set up a teleportation formation that could only send people to the chaotic astral ocean was too great a price to pay. It wasn't worth it. Master, can this teleportation formation really be repaired? Shanhai Guanyue looked at Yang Hongwu and asked. Her eyes were full of expectation. She hated Yi Tianxing to the core. It could be repaired. Yang Hongwu said, "Although it is a little troublesome, it is not impossible. But I am worried about this island." Master, what are you worried about? Mountain Sea Watcher was not like Yang Hongwu, who could not feel the strangeness of this island. It was because of this that she felt strange that Yang Hongwu was so nervous about this island. Even though she knew that Yang Hongwu was incomparably powerful, she still doubted what he said. She even guessed that Yang Hongwu was a little too nervous, and because of some special reasons, he had given birth to an inner demon. You don't understand. Yang Hongwu sighed. I hope my guess is wrong. Previously, he did feel a bad premonition. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. However, at this time, that feeling disappeared. However, Yang Hongwu was certain that this was not an illusion. With his cultivation at such a level, how could he casually have an illusion? Unless something went wrong during cultivation and an inner demon was born. However, it was impossible for Yang Hongwu to have an inner demon. Since it was not an inner demon, it meant that his previous feeling was real. Prepare the things needed to set up the formation. I want to repair the formation. Yang Hongwu said to Mountain Sea Watcher Moon. Some of the materials needed to set up the formation needed to be prepared. Yang Hongwu did not have them, but Mountain Sea Watcher Moon had them. The huge Shanghai city did not lack such materials. Yes, master. While Mountain Sea Watcher Moon was preparing the things, Yang Hongwu began to refine the space array disk. This space array disk was the key to this teleportation formation. There could not be any mistakes. If it was an ordinary person refining it, there would be no guarantee that there would not be any problems. However, to Yang Hongwu, there was definitely no mistake. Yang Hongwu raised his hand slightly, and a ball of flame danced in his palms. The oars changed shape under the heat of the flame, and Yang Hongwu formed a series of hand seals. These hand seals were Tao talismans. Runes were engraved. At this moment, Yang Hongwu merged the power of space into the runes. After a while, a formation disk was formed. Finally, Yang Hongwu took out the core of a space beast and inserted it into the formation disk. At this moment, the formation disk seemed to have come alive emitting a powerful and mysterious aura. Go! After doing all this, Yang Hongwu struck the formation disk with spiritual power. Then, the formation disk flew out and landed at the original core of the formation. The moment the formation disk entered the core of the formation, the entire island shone like a small sun. The formation was repaired once again. The formation is repaired. It's really repaired. Mountain Sea Watcher Moon muttered to herself. She had invited many powerful formation masters to repair this teleportation formation. However, none of them could do it. Now Yang Hongwu had done it. Moreover, it seemed that he didn't need to do it at all. The ancient teleportation array had been repaired in a short amount of time and at a great cost. However, no one knew if this transmission array could accurately send them to the chaotic astral ocean before they tried it. It would be troublesome if they were sent to the wrong place. Therefore, they still needed to confirm it. However, it wasn't difficult to confirm the location of the teleportation formation. Mountain Sea Watcher Moon, come and check if the location of the teleportation formation is correct. Yang Hongwu waved his hand and said to Mountain Sea Watcher Moon. After all, he didn't know where the chaotic star ocean was. This formation was completely based on the original formation that had been destroyed. Therefore, Yang Hongwu wasn't sure if the specific location was accurate or not. However, Mountain Sea Watcher Moon was willing to accept this. However, Mountain Sea Watcher Moon must know. Mountain Sea Watcher Moon nodded and came to the side of the formation. She used her spiritual power to enter the formation. After a while, Mountain Sea Watcher Moon opened her eyes and said, "Yes, young master. The location of the teleportation formation is in the chaotic astral sea. Since the location is correct, let's leave and go to the chaotic astral sea." Yang Hongwu was overjoyed and said, "This island was very strange." Yang Hongwu didn't want to stay here for too long. He couldn't wait to open the teleportation formation and enter the chaotic astral sea. After everyone got off the warship, Mountain Sea Watcher Moon waved her hand and the Super Mountain Sea warship entered her body. Except for a few people who stayed outside the formation, the others entered the formation. Chapter 1932. However, Yang Hongwu didn't know what was happening on the island. At this moment, they had been teleported to another deserted island. This island was located in the chaotic astral ocean. Everyone felt the sky and earth spinning. The next moment, they appeared on a deserted island. However, this deserted island was surrounded by a vast sea. But they could vaguely see an ancient city in the distance. Yes, it's here. This deserted island is where the teleportation formation used to be. Over there is a city on the sea in the chaotic astral ocean, Tianxing City. Tianxing is the city lord of Tianxing City. If it wasn't for my help, this city wouldn't have the status it has today. Speaking of this, Shanhai Guanyue's eyes flashed coldly. In the chaotic astral ocean, there were many forces. Tianxing City was one of the many small forces in the chaotic astral ocean. Now, Tianxing City could become one of the big cities in the chaotic astral ocean. If it wasn't for Shanhai Guanyue, it wouldn't have been possible. However, she didn't expect that Tianxing would betray her and injure her. He escaped and returned to Tianxing City. What was worse was that he destroyed the teleportation formation. In fact, Shanhai Guanyue didn't understand why Tianxing would do that. Why did he betray her? This was a thorn in her heart. If it weren't for this, her cultivation would have broken through long ago. It was precisely because of these distracting thoughts that her cultivation had been stuck at the late stage of the sovereign realm. Moreover, she had been unable to break through all this time. She couldn't break through. In fact, when Yang Hongwu entered Shanghai City, although she had a great chance of breaking through, she could also fail. After all, it wasn't the first time she had failed to break through. After entering the chaotic astral ocean, she felt the aura of Tianxing City and Tianxing. She couldn't be more familiar with Tianxing's aura. That bastard is in Tianxing City, which is that city. However, that bastard should have already sensed my aura. Shanhai Guanyue said. She could feel Yi Tianxing's aura. There was no reason why Yi Tianxing couldn't sense it. He could feel her aura, which was relative. I'm worried that the bastard will make some arrangements. Since Yi Tianxing knew of his existence, it would be strange if Yi Tianxing didn't prepare anything. After all, Yi Tianxing knew that Yi Tianxing was Yi Tianxing's archenemy. Yi Tianxing must have paid a great price to come to the astral chaos ocean to seek revenge and kill Yi Tianxing. How could Yi Tianxing just sit there and wait for death? Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, "No, he doesn't know that we are here. I have already blocked this space. He can't sense our aura." Yang Hongwu was confident that Yi Tianxing was strong, but he hadn't reached the late-stage ruler realm yet. Even a half-step Dao Lord might not be able to detect him, let alone a mere mid-stage ruler. If one cultivated the Dao of space, they might be able to notice the spatial fluctuations. However, Yi Tianxing had not comprehended the Dao of space, so it was naturally impossible for him to notice these fluctuations. Yang Hongwu had already investigated Tianxing City. In the entire Tianxing City, there was only one ruler expert, Yi Tianxing. However, there were many cities in the astral chaos ocean, and there were several powerful auras. Among them, there were four most powerful auras. One of them was Yi Tianxing, while the other three were not far from Tianxing City. The four cities stood opposite each other, forming a square. What puzzled Yang Hongwu was that the cities in the astral chaos ocean didn't seem to have the same origin energy as the cities in the Tongtian continent. This meant that the city lords here weren't like Shanghai City. They could borrow the origin energy of the city, but they weren't connected to the outside world. This was a little strange. Perhaps it was because of this that the forces here were very mixed. They could be destroyed or annexed at any time. It was completely different from Shanghai City, which couldn't be destroyed easily. Young master, are you sure? After all, I've already sensed Yi Tianxing's aura. The moment we were teleported here, I had no way of hiding my aura. Shanghai Guanyue was still a little worried and unsure. Hongwu said, "Unless he's a Dao Lord," Yang Hongwu said confidently. "No one below the Dao Lord realm can break through my aura barrier." If that's the case, I'm relieved. Since that bastard hasn't discovered us, it'll be much easier to capture him. Shanghai Guanyue's eyes flashed with joy. Since Yang Hongwu had said so, it meant that he had absolute confidence. As long as that bastard Yi Tianxing hadn't discovered their existence, it would be much easier to deal with him. One had to know that her strength was at the sovereign realm. Although she no longer had the support of Shanghai City, her cultivation had already recovered to the middle stage of the sovereign realm. Moreover, there was also Tai Tulong. That old man's strength was on par with hers. In addition, there was also the unfathomable young master Yang Hongwu. Once the three of them joined forces, that bastard Yi Tianxing wouldn't be able to fight back at all. Revenge was finally about to be exacted. "Young master, how do you plan to do it?" Shanghai Guanyue said. "Yi Tianxing hasn't discovered our existence. It'll be easy for us to capture him. I think Shanghai Guanyue and I should do it. Our strength is enough to crush Yi Tianxing," Tai Tulong said. Shanghai Guanyue nodded. Both of them were Yang Hongwu's subordinates. If they had to rely on Yang Hongwu as the master to do everything himself, they would be too useless. "You're thinking too simply." Yang Hongwu shook his head. Yi Tianxing was able to firmly occupy one of the four great cities in the chaotic astral ocean. How could it be so simple? Although the four great cities were wary of each other and kept each other in check, the truth was that the city lords of each of the four great cities were all different. They all had powerful life-saving means, and in Yi Tianxing's hands, there was an extraordinary treasure. Although this treasure had been recognized by Yi Tianxing and was well hidden, the aura that leaked out from him couldn't escape Yang Hongwu's senses. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.